us to get in.
Hey, we were ready.
All right, we were. So, I guess I'll do the recap this time, because
Hey.
we are short on time. We've lost OGs. So, when last we left off, you guys had managed to make it further into the minion-infested mine. After having saved the miners, you guys traveled deeper, moving pretty slowly, guided by Alyosha's vision. Until you reached, I believe it was the waterfall, which some of you clearly realized led through, or could be gone through into another room, sending out Baltier's familiar. You guys were able to find a couple of very large creatures hovering in the shadows, as well as what seemed to be a sort of ritual going on in a massive circular chamber with, you know, well over a dozen of these little minions. Managed to continue on, the bats having stopped their little assault. And as you guys continue forward, coming up on lookouts, you devised a pretty good plan, I'd say, of luring out all of these creatures from their ritual, and with a rather excellent shot from Alyosha straight into the noggin of one of these creatures, actually almost killing that creature. Had the roll been slightly better. He managed to get not just some infighting and quarreling between them, but you managed to altogether just lure them out. Which was good until you realized that they just kept coming and coming and coming. Meanwhile, Alyosha sneaking back into the rock, the rest of you throwing down grease, lighting that shit on fire, and really just Catherine cleaving these things in half left and right. You did a fair amount of work, until some of them just happened to realize, or not even realize, they stepped through the illusion, un accidente, and played a game of whack-a-stab on Alyosha. I think even at that point it was still kind of alright until Alyosha decided to chase after them, with most of the party forgetting the bats that were in the chamber beyond. Alyosha going down, coming back up, Catherine running after him, the bats coming. A whole mess ensued. Let's not forget that Eric just went down immediately with a rock to the fucking face.
It was like 2, I think, but yeah.
Whatever it was, it hurt.
Crits.
Nevertheless, Drake managed to make his way back to you guys, and after a bit of dilly-dallying around with Eric, making sure he was alive, and moving forward towards where Catherine was down, stabbing a bat and causing the other one to take off fleeing. Was it Balter? Who got the last kill? I think it was
Drake.
I think that was Drake, right? You did most of the damage, I think, and then Drake came in, I think carrying Alyosha away, managed to turn around, kill the seeming leader of these small little creatures. And as you guys were all heading out, you saw Catherine suddenly reawaken from his unconscious state, moving towards the large rock that seemed to be the sort of center of the ritual. You watched as he blinked out of existence, and then a few moments later, straight back in, wielding some sort of weapon that was reminiscent of the ebon shard rock that you'd seen scattered throughout these chambers. Although no clear answer was given, you guys nevertheless made your way out, reconvening with the miners, made it back outside, and having sealed up the cave, at least temporarily, you guys got your long rest. The miners have all headed off their own direction to sleep things off with some very much needed sleep. Similarly with you guys, it's been a while. You've technically, wow, since you reawoke outside the Bullywug Cave. It's been a long day of traveling to Prim, partying, running to this mine, cutting and cleaving your way through legions of these small creatures. And after the unfortunate demise of Alyosha, you guys at least have had the moment to rest. This rest doesn't take place until, I think we kind of drawing in on morning, so it's not the best rest you receive. It's not the best rest you've gotten. The rays of sunlight beginning to pour in over the mountains. It's bright. It's hard to sleep. Miners sleep soundly enough, and you guys do manage to get your long rest. All your hit points are returned, any abilities, all that stuff goes back to you. And as you finally come to, it's drawing in on noon. The sun, as you awaken, is bright and hot as its rays beam down on the small kind of encampment that's built up around the confines of the cave. You see many of the miners are already awake, and some of them still sleeping. The ones that are more injured still kind of lounging about and tending to one another's wounds. But the ones that are still hardy and able, they seem to be already well at work. You see the mouth of the cave has been unobstructed. They've removed any of the makeshift barricade that they put up the night before, or morning before, and it seems as if they're currently in the midst of just dragging barrels and crates outside. And pretty quickly realize they're removing any of the equipment and stock that they had stockpiled towards the entrance, just getting it out, essentially.
So coming to, just to recap one thing, because I didn't quite catch that. What time of day is it? Near about?
It's closing in on like noon. You can tell it's nearing midday just based on the position of the sun.
Okay. I'll stretch, kind of take a gander at my belongings. Notice I'm missing both daggers, my light crossbow. Pretty worse for wear, missing a lot of stuff here. And I go find everyone else.
I'll wake up and I'll watch like the workers kind of continue making the barricade of the.
They're not making the barricade. They made the barricade this morning. They've already taken it apart. They're now hauling equipment from inside the cave out of it.
Oh, okay. I'll just kind of like gather watching them do this.
Okay. Voltaire, what are you doing?
Early in the morning, well, sorry, midday. I'm probably waiting for everyone else to get up and get ready because I have some things that we need to discuss. I think so. I'll be reading until everyone else looks ready to do stuff.
I'm gonna walk around and look for my daggers from the miners that I gave them to. Okay, so I'm not sure if you guys all heard that.
Yeah, he's getting his daggers back.
Okay, so and sorry, Attic, what did you say you were doing?
I'm just looking for everyone.
Okay, so look like the miners and whatnot, just making, or the party members specifically.
The party members specifically.
Okay, yeah, I mean you're pretty aware of where everyone is. It's not too hard. Like I said, it's a rather small encampment. But as you come to, you know, amidst the 15 or so people that are there out and about, it's pretty easy to not nail everyone down. See, Catherine's up pretty early, and he's kind of helping gain the, move the crates and the barrels out. You see him every once in a while kind of retrieve an item or a weapon from one of the miners and stow that away in his own belongings. And of course, as you're moving about, you kind of just inevitably head count the miners and confirm that everyone's there. But as you're looking for your party members, you do eventually stumble on the body of Alyosha still laying there next to the fire, which is now smoldering and out, but the
That does
ashes
give
and
me
remnants.
pause for quite a bit, kind of standing there, give a nod in his direction, and then I try to continue gathering our party to discuss the day's events and what to do moving forward.
Alright, well, yeah, Baltar just sat on one of the bunks, so he's to find, definitely. When you find me, I'm just, I have one of my books open on the bed, he's sat cross-legged, and he's just playing around with some magic at the moment. He's practicing some new things he's been learning.
I will run over. Top of the afternoon, Baltar.
Hi, how's it going?
I think we need to talk. All of us.
Alright, good, I thought so as well. What did you want to talk about?
I've got, and I kind of turn around to where I've collected Catherine and Drake and have brought them over. I missed out on a number of things yesterday. I wanted to hear from you all that had happened.
Alright, I mean, honestly, it was all over very quickly, though, that you didn't miss that much. We fought off the spots, we lured them into a trap with the fire. I mean, I think you were still awake for that.
I have no memory of this.
Okay, well, we threw the rock at them, Alyosha did. We distracted them, but there were far more than we thought. They came charging down the passage eventually once we opened fire. Put down a spell in a choke point. We made a large blaze and we lured them into the fire. And then we eventually chased them down into another chamber, the one I found before. Remember when I sent Turul through? Well, we went through there. We managed to stop the ritual, and we saved
Did we save her?
Absolutely, yes. Like I say, it was all over in a flash. I mean, we're talking, it was a few minutes. And then we just carried you out.
Still a lot that could happen then. A lot did.
Absolutely.
Things go south fast.
But it wasn't all bad. Okay, we did ultimately succeed. I mean, even if it did cost Alyosha's life, we managed to save the woman, and all the miners are safe. We managed to return to collect them safely, lead them through the mine. And they all...
Did their ritual succeed? Whatever it was.
So. I don't think so, no. No.
Okay. Well, there's a number of things I think we need to do. A number of things I think that we should do. Most primary of which is the burial of those lost. Namely, our friend.
Absolutely, I agree. We definitely should do something about Alyosha's body. We can't leave it here next to the fire forever, obviously.
Of course.
There were some other things I think that need more immediate attention, though.
I put
We
it
are going to
on
be
the
leaving
list
here.
of things we should do, but things that we need to do. What were you thinking, Baltar?
Well, since we're leaving here and we'll be heading north to Fairmore, as planned, we still have the thing that we need to take care of. I think it's probably a good idea if we just give the cave a once-over. You know, look at the ritual they were doing, maybe figure out what they were trying to do, make sure that nothing happened that could come back to haunt these miners. I mean, as soon as we leave, there's people going to come back here. They're going to start working on the mine again, and these people don't even have a choice. Most of them need to work here. So we need to make sure it's safe when we leave. So I was thinking that while we still have some of the day left, we should just spend an hour, just have a look, make sure there's nothing else that might come back to hurt them. Then we can maybe gather some wood for a pyre or something for Alyosha. I don't know what their customs are, honestly. So.
All right. Honestly, I was thinking perhaps something along the lines of burying them in the mine. Him, namely.
Perhaps, but before we did that, I'd certainly want to check out the mine. I say I don't think they were successful in anything, but I wouldn't want to bury him in tainted ground. Yeah,
that's a good point.
I'm not expecting to find anything, honestly. I'm not even expecting a fight. When we left, the Svarts were so scared of us, they just run and hid. There's only a few of them left in there. I really just want to go and make sure that there's nothing left at the site where we found the woman, and that there's nothing that we missed. That's all. Just I want to make sure that if we leave it here, nothing's going to come back and kill these guys.
Perhaps we could get a few of those saved into the funeral detail, setting it up while we make sure everything is all right.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. I mean, maybe we could even take some of them with us. Safety in numbers and all going into the mine. Some of the strong ones.
That's fair. The most did get captured, so...
Oh, that's true, but they weren't expecting it, and they didn't have us, so...
It's very true.
Was there anything else that you wanted to talk about? You said you had a little bit of a list.
Little bit of a list. I don't think we should head back to Prim after these events.
Not at all?
Perhaps later, but not immediately. I would be totally fine with heading on to Farmore.
At the very least, I think we should at least tell the town that the miners are safe.
Most of them are clearly safe. They can find their way back. They've got families to go to.
Well, I mean, let's stop that. I mean, we can take them most of the way. If you don't want to enter the town again for whatever reason, then we can always leave them nearby once we've got them through the forest. I mean, there are some people here are wounded. They are not all going to stick together. We maybe need to make sure they all get back, otherwise our efforts are wasted. Okay? But once we get them to safety, they can walk to the town themselves. We don't have to go inside if you want to avoid it.
Let's investigate the mine. Make sure it's all clear for them. We'll talk more after.
All right. So Ty, like with the investigation, like I said, we're probably going to go in there with like a group of like 10 people. We're going to take a couple of the strongest miners. I don't really need for us to like do the whole walk through. I don't think we're going to really meet anything that's, you know, important. Like it's going to affect us unless you think there is. So really all we're doing is walking back the way we came, and we're just going to do like, you know, a 10-15 minute sort of look around the place we rescued the woman from, because we didn't get a chance to look around, and that's the only place that we really haven't looked at. So if we're happy that that place is relatively clean, like it's safe.
Well, before you get there, as you head into the kind of actual like mine part of things, not the ruins, but the mine itself, most of them have already, you know, all the crates and barrels have sort of been hauled out at this point. And you see, actually, I mean, vast majority of the miners who are actually up and walking, just under maybe 10, 8, 9 of them. The place is lit up with numerous torches. It's far brighter now. All of you can see just fine in there. And as you get to the much larger chamber that you were originally in when you fought the little Varts the first time, you can see they've already kind of begun working to like seal all of these hold passages down to the bottom. They're covering it with like, it looks like they got large planks of wood with massive rocks just piled up over the more western one. The one that you guys all went down, they're kind of in the middle of the process of doing, but it's not completely sealed.
Okay.
As soon as you enter that chamber, the one who's in charge, Henry, kind of just standing atop one of the ridges overlooking the whole thing, sort of turns to you and kind of gives you a wave and a nod.
Hi, Henry. How's it doing? You okay?
Oh, we're doing all right. Sealing it up. At least that. Our work here is not done. Surely we've got to keep mining. But, we've talked it through, and, we're going to postpone things for a bit. Just a short bit, no more digging down, that's for sure, but there's much to be had here, and he kind of just, like, points to the ceiling and the various walls, and there's clearly plenty of unmined material.
Of course, yeah.
So we're sending, myself and a few others. You're going to be heading over to West Mill. See if we can't get ourselves some hired arms. Just to help in case anything should arise again.
I mean, that's a good idea, absolutely. Look, I know you're busy sealing up this this entrance to the lower levels, but we were wondering if you wouldn't mind if we gave it a quick look before you did that. Just a once-over. We're just wanting to make sure that nothing down there might come back. I mean, after all, this is only wood and a few rocks, and they could burrow somewhere else. I just want to make sure there's nothing more dangerous down there we didn't find. We left in a bit of a hurry.
Yeah, ponders it for a moment, and you can tell he's hesitant, but yeah, well, I suppose, why not? How long you reckon?
An hour, no more. We just wanted to give it a thorough once-over.
I suppose an hour won't make much difference. Sure. And he kind of takes a few steps away, so he starts screaming in your ear, and you hear him yell out to the rest of the miners, sort of just halt, and calls everyone off. We'll be waiting. Nowhere else for us to go.
All right.
Do be careful, though. Do you want any of us to join you?
If you are happy to come with us, strength in numbers. They seem very scared when there are a lot of us around, so...
Yeah. Seems that way when they don't get the jump. Fucking... You can tell he's just like thinking back a couple days prior in the event, and he quickly just shrugs it off. Right, let me round a couple up. He lets out this loud whistle that just echoes piercingly loud throughout the chamber. Right, come on! Go back down! He kind of points out to like 4 or 5 people. You stay here, the rest of you, come on! See a bunch of them just grab torches off the walls or light up secondary torches. They all kind of drop them down the hole, and they kind of quickly just retie the rope up, and they've got plenty of rope lying about, so they get not even just one down. I mean, there's 3 or 4 down. Much easier to make down the hole this time. It's not an issue at all. And you guys spend the better part of the hour moving back through the chambers, specifically heading towards the one sort of ritual chamber. As you move through, you most definitely make out numerous sort of shadowy movements darting across walls and behind corners, and occasionally 2 beady eyes that kind of peer around and then and dart away. With the, as you said, the strength in numbers, especially with the fire, and the massive torches blazing through the hallways. None of them want anything to do with you guys. You see a pretty good amount of the corpses appear to be missing as you move through. You can see large trails of blood that lead off into the shadows. As you pass through the watery passage, the natural bridge, none of the bats seem to come down towards you. Same as with the Varts, just scared by numbers and fire. And you pretty safely make it back to this sort of main ritual chamber.
So this is what you missed, Eric.
What's it all kind of look like? Where the sorcerer was, all that?
Yeah, do we see any like writing on the wall? Or still like any of those dust there? From the dead farts?
Not particularly. I mean, the bodies are definitely gone. There's blood splattered everywhere from the massive casualties that have been suffered on both sides. But the chamber itself is pretty basic. It's large and circular. The walls, they're not really in ruin. They're actually fairly intact as they reach all the way up to the ceiling. You can see the natural cavern ceiling above. Aside from that, the large crystal ebon shard object, you're not quite sure what it was, still missing, gone. The altar itself is splattered in dried blood. It's clearly older than that of the rest of the fresh blood from around the Varts and Alyosha.
What do you suppose they were trying to do here?
I guess some kind of ritualistic thing.
To what ends?
I don't know. Probably power? The last Vart that I killed with a dagger, he had some kind of power in his hand and he could summon this kind of fire blast. He missed me a few times, but I think what they were doing would they be sacrificing people, maybe.
I think that was pretty clear. Definitely. I mean, there's still blood here from when they did it before.
Do you suppose that they're going to try again? A lot of bodies missing.
There are a lot of bodies missing.
I don't mean to be a downer, but
They're missing their leader, so...
Yeah, they've taken his body, I'm assuming, right?
Yeah, it's most definitely gone.
Can I just, do a check to determine, what they might have been doing here? Can I figure anything out from the stuff that's around here, like the situation that I witnessed with the Svarts praying, the shadowy stuff with the Ebon Shard?
Yeah, go ahead and give me an insight with advantage.
That's a +0. 8, nothing.
Sacrifices? To what extent, you're not sure. Unfortunately, this ritualistic, religious type stuff is not your forte, and the one member of the party who was quite inclined to such things is no longer with us.
I had a better religion score than he does. This is nonsense.
Your rules say otherwise, even though that wasn't a religion rule.
Yes, it was quite
Would have
crazy.
only been a 13. That's still not good.
Yeah, still not great.
This is where Catherine got this weird sword.
Yeah, how are you feeling, Catherine? Anything coming back to you about when you disappeared?
they were fighting you guys using a sword?
No, not at all. No.
To be honest, I'm still not sure what happened. I heard a voice after I woke up from fighting the bat, and then I just kind of dozed off, and then it was me just floating with just the sword, and I touched it and I came back. It was super weird. What did it look like from your guys' end?
Oh, well, you disappeared.
It looked
And then the
very
stone
big.
disappeared.
You disappeared, went to another plane. And then when you sheath it, it goes away.
Yeah,
I don't
Catherine, that's not a
understand.
normal sword, you understand, right? And, I mean, forgive me, but the shadowy motif that it's got going on there, it's awfully similar to what they were doing, don't you think?
Yeah, I find it odd, but I haven't had anything ill will that happened since then. Since the voice talked to me, I haven't seen any problems with it.
You're hearing voices now, too.
I heard one right when I woke in from when I blacked out. But all it said was, "Wake up." first I thought it was one of you guys, but now I'm not so sure.
No, we were quite occupied when that happened.
Be careful with anything like that.
Perhaps
we
I
don't
can
know...
have them look at the sword when we go to,
We were in Fairmore, and perhaps.
That's it. Yeah, the Fairmore.
Just be careful. For all that we know, their ritual might have been a success.
I agree.
Yeah, this is something else as well. I'd like to have somebody examine the woman at some point, just in case, especially given what's happened with Catherine and the sword. I want to make sure that they didn't do anything to her baby.
It's a good idea.
Yes, when children are involved in rituals, it's never a good sign.
All right, well, let's get out of here. This place gives me the heebie-jeebies.
Yeah. So just like quick last glance around. There's no other places that we didn't look here, right, Ty? It's just what we got here. That's it.
Yeah, I mean, you can tell, kind of just looking around, especially with the massive torches and the extra light, and the bridge spanning over this large circular building, where the two bats came down in the waterfall. You can tell that common sense would dictate that it's draining out somewhere below. There's no doubt that all of this leads further below ground. But as for this current level and all these chambers, there's nothing of note. Everything seems to be far too scared to attack. And there's no other like large sort of ritualistic chambers that you spot.
All right, well, yeah.
There you go. You saw it, and I'm satisfied. If you all are, I don't think there's anything else we can
Believe
do.
that I am.
All right. Yeah, I'm happy to leave then. So.
Yeah,
All right.
the miners look like they're doing a good job blocking the holes, at least.
Well, you know we ain't gonna let that shit happen again. Do what we gotta.
I would hope not. And hired muscle. Definitely a good idea.
Definitely.
Right. Shall we get going then?
After you.
And he immediately just leads the rest of the miners, taking the front and making his way through the passage. Yet again, you guys go relatively unhindered, and it's quite even easier to get back up, because you got plenty of miners still waiting up top, helping people, pulling you all up as everyone is ascending up the ropes that have been in place. So you guys reach the top, they quickly pull up the ropes, go to resealing it. While you guys are down below, the rest of the miners who stayed atop have been already gathering things. So it takes no more than a few minutes for them to completely seal up the hole once everyone is out.
All right. One last thing before we leave the mine. I'd like to just grab Henry or someone else in charge. Like, would it be possible to get a piece of the ebon shard that you're mining? Just a chunk.
Oh, yeah, I don't see why not. It's
They were using it down below for something. I'd like to investigate what it's for. It may have some properties which are not yet known.
I wish I could tell you anything about it, but all I know is a mines it.
Alright, I'd probably avoid leaving big chunks of it anywhere. They seem to use a very large crystal down below.
It'd be pretty rare to find everything we seem to get a hold of is small in nature. But let's head out. I can get you some.
Alright, great.
While we were down there, I didn't happen to see my crossbow anywhere, did I?
I got it.
You do? What?
It's back in the dorms.
Oh, okay. Well, as long as I know that it's out of
I
there.
forgot you were pop-shotting people at the end of that encounter, Phil.
So,
Or attempting to.
so you guys make your way outside. Henry kind of leads you into what looks to be like the overseer's kind of hut. A lot of the barrels aren't actually Evanchard, you realize. With most, with the outside sunlight and the lids off, you can tell most of them are just kind of, holy shit, bless you. You can tell that most of them are really just like kind of ore, random stone and things that have just been kind of pulled out of the mine. There's perhaps only a couple small actual barrels of this Evanchard material, and kind of quickly takes you over to the overseer's hut. Goes digging around through one of them and manages to find essentially a small sliver of one, and it tosses that over to you, Baltier. Assume that would suffice. For obvious reasons, I can't part with anything larger.
That's fine. Yeah, just this will do nicely. And yeah, just put it in a little pouch, nice and safe, so I know where it is.
That's the least we could do, and holds up a finger to halt, and retreats back to this very crude-looking desk. It's torn at by the weather, and it's sturdy, but I mean it's rough. He kind of struggles to open up a drawer, pulls out two hefty pieces of ore. These are well. I talked it over with some of my men, and it seemed only fair. He just kind of holds his hands up, offering them to you as they lay on the table.
What are they?
You take a step closer. You can immediately tell they appear to be two very large pieces of silver ore.
Wow, can we actually take all that? 10 miles back to Prim.
I mean, this seems like a lot, doesn't it?
Personally, I feel like we could put it to good use, but
I accept your payment, good miner.
It seems
Catherine
you'll be
grabs
graciously
one of the
accepting
chunks.
your.
I mean, they're a bit kind of just picking them up. They feel like they're probably around 20 pounds each.
Jesus.
20 pounds.
Mm-hmm.
that weighs more than my first cat. Holy.
Now, I won't lie, they're probably not entirely silver. We haven't had a chance to smelt them down or anything, but you should get something out of it.
Your thanks is appreciated.
Yeah.
If you ever run into trouble at the mine again, make sure to come find us somehow.
Well, hopefully that won't be necessary once we get some more help over from Westmill. Sorry, I did have a favour to ask. Me and the men who are headed with me to Westmill, we're headed straight there. With what's transpiring, we can't really lose any time. I heard mention of Prim. I'm assuming that's where you came from. If there's a chance you're headed back, I'd appreciate it. I was told one of our men made it back there. It's how you found out, I was told. If
That's
you
true.
could simply let him know what happened, I would appreciate it. He deserves to know that it's safe.
I'm not sure if we're headed back to Frim ourselves, but we'll make sure to tell someone to tell your associate what happened.
Are all of your miners heading straight to Westmill?
Plan is to leave about half of them here, just to keep things in check. Don't need any brigands coming through.
Oh.
The rest of us, well, we're headed straight there.
That was a good face, Kevin.
I'm drinking pure Jack Daniels out of my cup because I forgot to bring a mixer today.
Jesus Christ.
I was gonna say, that looks like harsh shit.
It's, 'It's pretty good.
Mm.
It's pretty good.
Mm.
It's pretty good.
All
Well, Eric, it's up to you. I mean, you said perhaps you didn't want to go back to Prim.
It's fine. It's all right.
All right.
I truly appreciate it. I mean,
Yeah.
everything you've done. It's been a tremendous help.
Anyone would have done the same.
Makes it all worth it.
And at
As
that,
long as all of you are okay. I just feel terribly sorry that I couldn't save everyone.
and as you say that, another kind of one of the lankier miners kind of runs up. So all preparations have they're ready. And he's got a sort of dejected look on his face, and Henry nods to him, looks back to you guys. Well,
Let's gather everyone then.
Yeah.
right, back in we go.
Wasting daylight.
With that, kind of leads you guys and the rest of the miners who are still outside back into the mine, sort of into this main chamber, the larger area where everything's been sealed off. You now see in the very center of it, in the more shallow pit, they've erected a very shallow sort of pyre. It's maybe only 2-3 layers of flat wood high, with a large number of rocks and stone piled around it. In fact, stones almost really reach higher than the pyre itself. The miner who came up and said things were ready, who you know to be the one that Henry mentioned, possibly knew that, yeah, Graham, the one who possibly knew the rights. It's not perfect, but he's surrounded by rock.
I think he'd like that.
It looks good, Henry. Thank you.
Nah, don't thank me. I didn't do anything. Well, if there's anything you'd like to say, I didn't know him, unfortunately, but
Of course.
You're up, Eric.
It's hard, you know? I think we all probably have things to say in his honor. Helping others should be second nature to everyone. But there's always a cost. It's not always made apparent. We're fragile creatures, really. That fragility made more apparent only when it's too late. I can't say that I knew him very long, but he's a good friend and a good person. I'm sure that wherever he is, he knows that he did a good thing, good service here, saved many lives. His actions held impact that will affect many on into the future. Goodbye, my friend.
I'm just going to lean into Eric's side. Would you like to light it?
Kind of hop up, walk over, and light a torch, hold it out, and wait. And wait. Head goes down a little bit. And then I light it.
as you light it, it takes immediately. The flame wafts up, sending this black plume of smoke cascading upwards into sort of natural vents just from the mountainside that have managed to pierce through the ceiling. It's still...
I play an old funeral song on my dulcimer as well.
And as you let out the dirge, as it were, there's a sullen silence that sweeps over the surrounding miners. And then slowly, kind of one by one, and growing in number, they all turn and head out of the mine, letting the pyre kind of crumble in on itself as the rocks surrounding it all slam down on top of it as the wood gives way, effectively burying the remains of Alyosha in large rocks and debris.
Eric kind of stifles a tear and replaces his frown with a smile as he looks upwards before turning on his heel and walking out.
That all of you are outside, and most of the miners immediately disperse. Vast majority of them kind of just immediately going to get ready. There's still this sort of quiet washed over everything, and it's Henry that eventually comes up and approaches you guys. I'm sorry, it had to be that way. There's no way I could ever truly thank you enough. But I hope it was something at least we were able to give.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it's a lot of money. It's a big sacrifice for you guys to make this for us, and we really appreciate it.
He waves his hand. As I said, it's probably not even all silver. But hey, you might be able to get 50 gold each out of it, maybe. It's little. For all the lives you've saved.
Speaking of lives as well, Henry, how long until you leave? I would like to look over the woman. I'm afraid I still don't know her name. She was unconscious when we found her.
Oh my god, where is she?
She was standing amidst everyone for the funeral. But I'm going to point you in the direction of the abode she's staying in. Well, I suspect we'll be leaving as soon as we possibly can, within the hour at least, before it gets too far into the day.
All right. Well, I'm going to do what I can to make sure that nothing happened to her while she was in the cave. I'd suggest you maybe have her seen by an apothecary or a doctor of some kind.
I would assist in trying to help make sure everything was all right with her if possible.
Okay. So as you guys make your way over to that very small abode where she's staying, she's already kind of just laid back down. You can tell she's pretty far along, and standing is not her forte at the moment. As they've kind of managed to make her some loose bedding. It's nowhere near comfortable, but it does the job. As you guys go to check with Edic helping, go ahead and give me a medicine with advantage.
I was also wanting to, as a natural 20, and I was hoping to do detect magic on her as well, just to make sure there was no like residue from the ritual, like a curse or something that maybe, I don't know. So that's also what I'm doing afterwards, after a physical examination.
Yeah. So quick, really just kind of both at once. Quick examination. I mean, you see that she's pretty banged up, plenty of small cuts and bruises about. They've got her bandaged up as best as possible, and none of it is deadly. She'll live, as will you assume the baby. There doesn't seem to be anything out of the ordinary in terms of physical wounds, and similarly, as you throw up detect magic, there's nothing that seems to come of it. As far as you can tell, whatever they were trying to do didn't succeed.
I kind of lean into Belitha and I'm like, you see anything?
No, it looks like another job well done. Should be fine.
My smile kind of goes from half-faked to genuine.
That's good.
All right. Well, sorry, what's your name? We still not asked. We've been very rushed.
Cat.
Cat. Well, it's a pleasure to meet you, Kat. Everything looks like it's going to be fine. Whatever they were trying to do to you completely failed. So you can get on your way if you'd like.
So just very lightly and shakenly nods, and I mean, she's a combination of this like nervous and very off-put. She's been through quite a bit the last couple of days herself, so anything else you guys want to do before taking off?
Me personally, no. So unless there's anything else.
I'm totally fine with the miners keeping the daggers.
Yeah, right.
Like, they probably need them more than I do.
Fair enough. Catherine got his back, but the rest of you, the rest of you leave your stuff behind. You say your goodbyes as the miners are actually taking off about the same time as you guys. You travel for no more than 30 minutes, 40 minutes, and then part ways as you guys continue trekking back westwards towards Prim while they branch off north following the main road towards Westmill.
I give him a big wave and a big smile.
Yeah, I think I'll probably stand away with them off a bit as well. Just
Many of them reciprocate, especially Henry, who gives you guys sort of a hearty half bow before trekking back and catching up with the rest of the group. And so you guys make your way back to Prim. By the time you guys leave, it's a few hours past midday. 3 or 4 hours past midday, you presume. You definitely traveling partially through nightfall, but you're able to move at a fast enough pace that you cover ground quickly enough, especially with Drake leading the way back through the woods with that nat 20 from a few sessions ago. Still recalling the lay of the land quite well. And you guys make your way back. You spent your fair amount of time in Prim, and they've always been a sort of jovial crowd, jovial village, even amidst their sort of devastation, really. The events that had transpired there. Mm-hmm. Both before and after you managed to commit mass genocide on the bullywugs.
Mm-hmm. That's our brand.
Yep.
I take pride in so much here.
So as you guys are moving closer and closer towards Prim, I mean, it's not that late in the night. It's still fairly early as far as evenings go. And with it being so small, the tavern is normally, I mean, it's all the rage, as they say, and it's normally quite noisy around the area, but as you guys approach, it is surprisingly quiet. The closer you get, the more you expect to hear some noise, any kind of noise. There's nothing. You can clearly see the torchlight blazing into the surrounding forests, illuminating the tree line in front of you. All that looks normal. The buildings appear fine, but as you progress through the farmland, there's no one tending to the crops currently. Appears
Is it later than we thought?
devoid of life, really.
I take off in a run towards the town.
What had happened here?
Yeah, did it just take us longer to get back? I thought people would still be up by now.
Everyone else running, or is that just Eric who takes off?
Eric starts running off.
I'm immediately running, trying to look for my father.
Okay. Your father's in a slightly different direction. He's kind of outside the town. You can do that, though. It's up to you. Eric, as you take off running, I mean, You got small legs, but I mean, everyone else is kind of moving at a brisk walk, so you quickly gain some distance. And as you near, you race past the fields and sort of towards the small wooden barricade that makes up the entrance. A little more than a fence, really, and a slightly larger posting on either side. There's no one that's standing as a lookout. There's no militia to speak of in Prim, but normally they have, their makeshift villager guards, and usually there's someone at least standing post. There's no one at the moment, though.
I kind of stopped to catch my breath a bit.
Well, I'm jogging after him. I'm sorry, I was going to say that on the journey back, when we were going through the woods, I'd have cast Mage Armor on myself. Because I was going to say I'll cast it now, but I realized that I've probably done it beforehand. So it's probably a few hours into its clock by now.
Okay, yeah, no problem. Drake, are you following after Eric, or did you want to go the other path?
I'm gonna go towards the path of where my father would be.
Okay, so as everyone else is kind of heading towards the town, you branch off sort of to the right, just really moving towards or past the fields in the opposing direction. He's not far out from the town. He's really kind of just outside, preferring to stay in this small hovel inside the woods. It is a slightly further distance away, though, than the entrance. So the rest of you do reach the entrance first, and as all of you manage to catch up with Eric, who's kind of stopped outside the gate where there's no one standing lookout, you too immediately notice there's no one. As you look inside, however, you can still very clearly see that there are torches blazing along the sides of buildings and the dirt path that leads through the center of town. And as you make your way inside, you can immediately see that everyone appears to be gathered dead center of the town, surrounding the tavern, sort of in a similar fashion to what they had when you guys returned from the Bullywugs, except this time it's, as you come walking in, there's no murmuring or whispers between the crowd, no sort of jovial excitement. It is silent as they all look up towards the entrance of the tavern.
I kind of give a sigh of relief at just seeing them all fine and alive, though.
As I catch up to him, I just and slap him across the back of the head.
What the?
After everything which just happened, because of this exact situation, you decide to go running off on your own.
I can't take any more heartache today, alright?
Come on, think, man. It's all fine.
You're not wrong, alright?
Don't go running off like that again, Eric.
Drake. So as you go into a full jog, you make it pretty quickly past this farmland and moving just slightly deeper into the forest, moving away from the town fence. Very quickly locate the hovel that makes up your father's abode. There's a single torch blazing and planted in the ground outside of it, and even as you come into a running approach, you can see the outline of his figure on the inside of the building, just kind of knelt down. Looks to be tanning or skinning away at some sort of freshly cut skin, slowly turning it into leather through the long process that takes.
I'll see him do this. I'll be like, Father! Father!
He kind of cocks his head for a moment. I mean, he's even at his old age, he's a fairly largish figure. Seasoned tracker, hunter, but bulky nonetheless. Head bald, chin and face, sort of kind of grisly. He just stands up and nods you inside without much of a word.
I'll go in, I'll follow him inside. Father, it happened again. another member of my party has passed. I couldn't protect everyone.
That ain't your job to protect everyone. How'd he die? And he kind of takes a seat on a stool and starts pouring some boiling hot water into a cup.
Honestly, I'm not too quite sure, but we were surrounded by these weird blue creatures in the mines. We were trying to save the miners back at the cave over there that they're excavating about 10 miles past Prim. It was a shame. I didn't really know them, but I feel like I'm still not good enough.
What happened with the mine? They die too?
No, everyone was able to survive because of his sacrifice. We saved everyone. Except for him.
He leans further back in the chair and begins to sip on the water. It's steaming up into his face. I'm not seeing the problem.
Coming for you.
It sounds like a decision he made. If the rest of these miners are safe, and he was willing to risk his life, it's no different from any other.
But how do you do it? How are you able to save everyone? Back then, in that story you told me.
Maybe it was luck.
Maybe. What happened to the town?
What about it?
No one's tending to the crops. No one's looking out that I know of. I didn't see anyone.
He kind of leans up, looking out on one of the windows.
Maybe it's that.
I don't know. Some individual came in a few hours ago. I haven't heard so much from the town. Just doing my work. And at that, he pulls out a pipe and starts loading it.
Starts piping up.
Gandalf style.
Can you blow like a ship ring?
No, he's not that skilled.
Are you sure? I think he is. Can you roll for it?
Only.
Blowing smoke.
I mean, for that to happen, there first needs to be a dwarf that makes a ring for it to go through. So without that,
He's even better.
I might go on another adventure. This time I might not be able to see you as quick as I was able to this time.
You don't need to see me. You're your own man. I've taught you well. You do what you gotta do.
I just want you to know, Father. Everything I do is because of you. I hope one day I'll be just as good as you were in the stories you told me.
At that, he takes a long draw of the pipe and then sets both it and the cup down. If that's your reasoning, then you haven't learned anything. It's not about me. It's not about my legacy. It's about you.
trying my best here. Trying to improve every day. I just don't know if I'm good enough.
He stands up and the chair scrapes along the ground behind him. And stop trying to prove yourself and just do it. He takes the pipe and walks out of the door.
I'll walk out. And I'll head towards Prim again.
Your father is back. I'm sorry.
So, alright, so while you're heading back, the rest of you are well into the town at this point, approaching this, I assume approaching, the large congregation of, well, they seem fine. Approaching the congregation of villagers that have amassed outside the tavern, and I mean, even without counting, you imagine, I mean, it's just about everyone there. Again, it's hushed, it's quiet, and there's, I mean, it's strange. It's a strange spectacle, even though it was quite similar to you guys returning after the Bullywug encounter. It's vastly different. And as you get closer, you can see that, to no surprise, there's a few figures standing atop the stone stairs that head up into the tavern. You immediately recognize the barkeep, Nazir, I believe it was, as well as one other individual. You're not sure his name or who he is, but you definitely recognize him as one of the villagers. But
is he the really drunk guy?
yeah, sure. Yes, he is now. He's the very drunk individual from the night prior, and but both of them are sort of standing backs to the doorway of the tavern, and standing in front of them, an individual you don't recognize at all, pacing sort of back and forth in front of them, eyes locked onto these two figures. Will, would you like to describe your character for us?
Ooh la la.
So, you see this kind of tall, slender, high elf who's arrayed in close-fitting, gaudy armor, with a cape emblazoned with a disc surrounded by arrays of white light, eclipsed by a dark object somewhere in the middle. Doesn't look very old, but yet he has strikingly gray, almost white, straight hair with pale skin and eyes of almost like a bluish fire. He's pacing around. He says, "Righteousness, holiness, the ways of redemption, salvation, to purge from your sins. This is what the searing fire, the searing bright offers you. We have come from land to land, and now we have come here to your valley to offer truth, goodness. Repentance is mandatory. It's not an option. You will join in the purification of this world, or," he kind of runs off, "you will be burned up when it is redeemed."
At that, you guys see the tavern keeper kind of take a step forward. We don't know who it is you're looking for. Surely you must understand we've done nothing wrong here.
You don't seem to understand how good I am and what kind of guidance I have received upon this, tavern keeper. I know that Gareth Dayson lives in this town. I know he's here. There is no disputing my sources.
There's no one who lives here named Gareth Dayson. We've told you this place. Please. What reason have we to lie to you? The tavern keeper notices the rest of you approaching. They've helped us before. They know. They've just recently. There's no one here named that. Ask any of the citizens as well. Surely you must see. Just a village.
He stops you, puts his finger up, and then looks dead in your face and says, I am not leaving your village until I have the man in my possession. Are we clear?
I kind of hop up on the stairs at this point. I swear, you leave for a day, you come back, the town's in terror once more. It's like a cycle.
When did he sneak over there? Like best friend.
I can be sneaky.
Now, I will say this once more. I have been tracking these particular individuals across your valley. I'm not going to say it again. He may be having a different alias. He may be under a different name. But I gave you the description of what he looks like, and I am not wrong. Now you will tell me where he is, or this town will get a brilliant display of what the purification of the Searing Bright is like.
I kind of go up and tap him on his lower back. Excuse me.
Again. What? Where is he?
I don't really know who you're talking about, but you don't usually find results going down that path. Being nice to folks usually gets you what you want.
The tavern keeper's taking a step away to let Eric get in between you and him. And you can tell at this point there's just beads of sweat rolling down the innkeeper's face.
So I turn to Casper and go, we are far enough. We could definitely just walk off. He would start stepping back with me as we go. And we just taking step after step.
I want to insight check the innkeeper to see if he's lying to me.
Absolutely, go ahead.
See if Eric can handle himself. I don't want to get involved yet.
I'm being ignored. I'm not used to this. Is this what it feels like?
I'm gonna insight check him.
Well, you're not there yet. You hold that thought. You're still running because you were having your conversation with Pops while this is going. So, 19. I mean, as far as you can tell, with the innkeeper's absolutely shaken. Beads of sweat. He can't even quite find a voice. You can generally tell when someone's hiding something from you, but this figure is scared out of his mind. You're pretty certain he's not lying.
If you just look down,
Very well. If I find out that any of you, and I do mean any of you...
Before you can finish, there's a hand that kind of just shoots up as a figure pushes his way through the crowd. It's a frail sort of... you almost mistake him for a child, actually, before you realize it is an adult, just very lanky, thin, kind of weasels his way through. Hi.
Speak.
Oh, we had a fellow come in yesterday named Gareth.
And the innkeeper shoots him like an inquisitive, almost confused look. And this lanky figure just nods at him.
The miner said his name was Gareth.
Mm-hmm. Continue.
Oh, I don't know. Just help tend to his wounds. He's upstairs.
Indeed.
Again, I turned to Casper. Did you hit that right? That's not what I thought his name was.
In your inn. And he turns back to the tavern keeper. How interesting that you've never heard of this individual before.
He came in yesterday. This he like turns straight towards Eric, who's in front of him. He bumbled into town, barely able to speak, and he had wounds, lacerations. All we did was tend to his wounds. He's been asleep all day. He has hardly drank or ate or anything. Just slept.
I will see him now.
The innkeeper just steps out of the doorway.
Wait. Sorry, excuse me. You, the one that's doing all the talking. That miner, his name is not Gareth. Or whatever you're looking for. His name is Alden. We heard from one of the other miners. We just came from the mine. They're all accounted for, except one. His name is Alden.
He looks back at the thin figures. So you mean to tell me that you have lied?
Oh, no, I'm not lying. No,
He kind of shoots a look back to Baltier.
that's
No,
it's not Alden. I know Alden. He used to live here. That's someone else. Is who you said.
And he kind of points back to you're not Alyosha. Points back to the figure.
I'm gonna insight him.
Go ahead. Same as with the innkeeper. I mean, this frail person is terrified and shaken, and he seems to be speaking the truth. I mean, he doesn't seem to have any ill intent or deception about him.
It seems that your man is a liar. It's not your Olden or whoever lived here. It's someone else. Well, no matter. I will be taking to him now.
And as you turn and leave, the figure's just like there's like tears running down the side of his face now, and he whips his attention back around to Baltier and then Eric.
Wait, no, what happened to Alton then? No.
Considering the nature of this individual upstairs, he probably had your friend killed or something worse. Now, do you want justice for your friend?
Wait. What do you mean the nature of the thing upstairs?
The individual upstairs is highly dangerous and subversive. I have come to deal with him personally.
On whose authority here, huh? I mean, you are...
On the authority of the Searing Bright.
I mean, not gonna lie, you gotta walk into town and terrorize everyone.
Do I have any idea what he's talking about? And would they have any legal authority here?
Give me a religion check. Also, Drake, if you didn't see the message, you arrived at the point where Baltier first started speaking up. So you've been watching this transaction.
I elbow Eric and
I'm laying on the steps of the tavern.
Yeah, as he's laying down, I'll say, "What's going on here?"
Stranger walks in, terrorizes the town. Ignores most folks. Strange.
I have one purpose, and one purpose only. No, it's not. I have one purpose and one purpose only, and that is to deal with Gareth Dayson. And I will be on my way. Though I fear that missionaries from our order will soon return here and educate you.
With that, there is a almost... I mean, it's a very audible gasp that emerges from a vast majority of the crowd, sort of just in unison in this sort of inward wailing. Boltier, with that 21, you've most definitely heard of the Searing Bright. You know them to, as said, not be from this, around the valley. They cling to another part of the larger continent. It's very rare that any of them come down into the valley. Very rare indeed. As a result, you're not too terribly familiar with them, aside from the fact that they do tend to go from place to place doing this sort of thing, as it were. Although, to what specificity, you're not sure.
So I'm not sure if it's legal what they're doing.
Well, it depends on what he's doing currently. I mean, technically legal.
Yeah.
He hasn't done anything
If he were to
illegal
kidnap
yet.
somebody, if he were to kidnap somebody, like he's planning to do, he's trying to take someone into his possession. Does he have like the authority to arrest somebody, basically, like this?
Citizens arrest.
You would assume not.
It's a citizen's arrest.
No, I'm sorry, friend. That's not going to go down like that. You don't have any authority here to do this. Now, it seems like this young man, sorry, I thought you were a boy. He clearly says this is not the person we thought it was. There are a number of miners who are heading currently to Westmill. We only have one unaccounted for. His name is Alden. This man is clearly not Alden, so either we've been misinformed, or that man is not who he says he is. Either way, you don't have any authority to arrest him and pass judgment on him here.
I have no intention of arresting him.
Since I've lived here, do I remember anyone that lived here with the name of Gareth?
Give me a history check.
I was actually gonna say something about that. Since I'm using his computer, can you give him rights?
Oh yeah, let me do that real quick.
Okay, yeah.
Kevin, why you do this to yourself?
I'm not gonna lie.
Alright, you have
Earlier
access.
That night, I thought it was like literally a freeze frame that like Phil took a while back, put on a shirt.
Yeah.
You have access now to the sheet.
I see it, thank you.
I gotta do it, Phil.
I don't know what you do.
While you're pulling that up and rolling it, I'm gonna go grab a drink super fast.
That's 7.
Nice, that's 7.
Not great. Well, he's going away. Let's roll for a little bit.
Runs over, pets Albert.
Yeah.
Yes.
Finish.
Yes. Yes. That's all I wanted.
I go up, I'll say, who's terrorizing my town? What's going on?
Alright. Pig is dead asleep. Maybe dead.
No,
Baby dead.
not Alyosha and Albert. I can't take all this.
Since you were kind of staying with your father for most of the time, doing your hunting and training and whatnot, you're not absolutely familiar with everyone there, but the name Gareth definitely does not ring a bell.
What's going on? Who's terrorizing my town?
As I was saying, I am not planning to arrest Gareth Dayson. That will not be a concern of yours.
Oh, well, what do you plan to do with Gareth Dayson then?
He is going to submit to the justice of the Searing Bright, for which he has betrayed.
That was entirely devoid of any useful information.
What did he do? I've lived here my whole life. I've never heard of someone named Gareth.
Perhaps you will confirm if this is somebody that you've seen before.
That's fine with me. I'd like to go and see him. I'd like to get this young man's opinion, and I'd like to know what Alden looks like in case we've seen him at the mine.
And
Also, another miner should have made it back here. Has anyone arrived in town recently?
there's a sort of just general shaking of heads from the inhabitants of the town. And as you say that, there's this sort of like someone running back downstairs. Nobody had really noticed, but the drunken figure who was previously drunk, who was standing atop the stairs, kind of made his way into the tavern while you guys were discussing, and he now is just kind of stumbled his way back down. And as he hits the door frame, he's just, he's gone.
Wonderful. Yeah, perfect.
He's gone. What do you mean
Easy
he's
is it?
gone?
He holds both hands up and like steps back out of the way of the doorway. Oh, he's gone.
In all fairness, that was a lot more straight than everything you said to us.
I rush outside, trying to avoid stepping on Eric.
Why is he just
Wait,
on the stairs?
You mean inside?
No, outside.
You guys are all outside right now.
Oh, I thought we were. I thought we were in. Okay, well, I'd go like see if there is a window based off where his room would have been.
I think or maybe you weren't. I guess Alyosha was the only one, really. Sort of running around the building, or?
Yeah, running around the building, seeing if I can still see him, or...
I don't think there wasn't. I think Alyosha was the only one that went upstairs with him. So unfortunately, nobody else knows what. Nobody else knows what room he was even in. But there's definitely windows atop, just lining the top of the building. Most of the rooms. There's a
marks, like a
Fine. And he kind of like shoves whoever's out of the way and comes to start looking around the building.
Okay, so Drake already going around. Will your character? You're going around the building as well, or are you making your way upstairs?
Yes. He is actively looking around the building to see if he can notice things.
Both of you give me a perception.
All right.
Is Eric still on the ground?
I'm laying on the stairs right now, yeah.
Too mad.
Yeah.
Walk up and pick up Eric by the armpits and just stand him up.
Wait, Eric's not running around the building. Drake is. Or is that Drake's?
Sorry, that's mine. I forgot to change it.
Yeah, I'm not doing anything.
If you guys can, go to your character sheet, go to the settings tab, and make sure that your character names are on your rolls. That would help a lot.
Yeah, not mine.
Sure.
Not even just for tonight, just in general.
I didn't know you could do that. It's cool.
Yeah, I don't remember what it's under, though.
It's on the cog screen, and it's
We'll find it while we're playing.
Yeah.
Yeah, just it's somewhere.
Like, easy enough, so it is.
So,
I'm not doing nothing.
Yeah. So, Drake, you managed to kind of take off running first, moving around the exterior of the building. You see a number of the windows are open, but one of them in particular, you can tell, kind of just looks slightly shoved out and ajar. And directly beneath it, the dirt just appears slightly upheaved. There's a few tracks that head off, but they immediately get lost in the forest and the grass.
I kind of talked to Balater. I kind of step away with him. I'm a little concerned that the miner didn't make it back.
Yeah, me too. He was a skittish one as well.
Did you literally pick me up and bring me with you?
I just picked you up.
Yes.
And I just stood you up like a little kid.
I would come over with you for those.
Yeah, so as he goes around the building and you can't find anything, you see a flaming disc come out of his hand. He flings it into a nearby tree.
If it helps, I think they went that way. Or he went that way. We don't know anything about him, but we can look for him for you. So you don't get any more angry.
Very well.
You're welcome to come if you want.
Oh, I'm definitely coming. Rest assured of that.
Okay.
So after our little aside to the thing, I would like to go back to Mazir, I think it is, isn't it? The innkeep?
Nazir.
Nazir. Yeah, he's still standing like atop the steps, like just like hand on chest at this point, almost like he's had a heart attack, and he's just.
Are you gonna stay with me here?
I'm sorry. What?
We sent a miner back here.
Mm-hmm.
And like, I give him a description of him. I think he's an older gentleman. He's a bit like skinny and a bit crazy looking, isn't he?
Yeah, he doesn't hesitate at all. He's just shaking his head. No, no one's arrived since you left. Not before. And he just kind of points over his shoulder towards whatever direction this elf ran off in.
We sent him a day ago.
No one arrived. That's what I'm telling you.
This is most troubling.
I mean, maybe he made his way to Westmill. We don't know.
I'm pretty sure he was headed to Prim, though.
I mean, he was, but he was also a bit insane. He might not have realized where he was going. He may have just followed the road.
That's great, no, but what about? He's gonna burn the fucking village down.
Did he actually hurt any of you at all?
No, but he's got a mad fucking temper about him.
That he does.
He's not going to burn the village. I won't let him burn the village down, okay?
At that point, you can smell burning coming, as there's a nearby tree on fire.
Foliage notwithstanding, okay, but the actual village itself will be next.
God damn it.
No, I'm assuming that was like a radiant flame, right?
No, it was actually a firebolt.
Never mind. There's an actual tree on fire. I thought we were gonna have like a Moses tree situation, but no, it's actually on fire.
I'm gonna rush over there, try and get it off, like stomp at it, hit at it with a blanket.
The best part is that Drake had a conversation with him while the tree was going up in flames, and then noticed and was like, "Oh shit!" Get out.
And then decided to start stamping on a tree. Fucking hell.
Yeah, I mean, you managed to get it out before it takes up too much, but the smell definitely kind of wafts. I mean, it's a quick spreading smell, burning. Right, well, show's over. Tavern's. Ah, shit, it's not closed. Drinks inside.
That's why we like you, Nazir.
I mean, I'll make a killing tonight.
Absolutely, don't ever change. I mean,
That is a really good business idea.
Yeah, and you watch as a few members of the crowd disperse, but a vast majority make their way inside. Some of them kind of linger outside, like peering around the peering around the building to try and see what's happening.
things are happening.
So guys, Can I
In the
just talk like
interest
that permanently? Can that be my narrator voice? Yeah.
Oh no.
Yo, last time on D&D,
Good night.
you guys slayed the bullywogs. It just sounds like a really weird, like a bad Christopher Walken.
That's all I want.
God, I want Christopher Walken to play D&D. Sorry, continue. We have two separate parties doing things, so...
And
Well, Nazir's excellent business sense. I'm starting to wonder if he is hiring people to make mischief in this town. I mean, it'd be worth his money, wouldn't it? But anyway, they are heading off, it seems. They are tracing whoever it is.
in the interest
And we're still down a miner.
making
Actually,
sure that
technically, we're down 2 miners. We've done a fucking perfect job, and now it's nothing. Lost 2 of them.
Eric kind of throws up his hands. Ah,
Perhaps the one that went back to the town got lost in the woods on the way here.
That's as good as dead, isn't it? Think about it. Bears
It's unfortunate.
and wolves. Let's
How about
face it,
this?
He wasn't in the best shape.
in the interests of making sure that he doesn't actually burn down the town,
I think
and
probably
perhaps accelerating his departure from said terrorized villagers that we know so well, let's go take a gander at what he's up to and maybe help him out.
sounds like a good idea to me.
And as you guys kind of wrap that up, the last of the people who seem to be going inside file their way past. Nazir's just been standing at the doorway, kind of prodding them in. And as you guys settle on that course of action, he kind of turns to you. If I'm not sure if it will be of any help to you, but he had a couple belongings. Well, no. I honestly don't. I'd rather just get rid of them. So if you want to take them, do.
Yeah,
Wonderful.
sure, we'll take them.
We wouldn't do that to you.
Okay, we get
What
500
is it?
gold.
What's he got?
Honestly, I mean, his clothes and whatnot, but he just kind of moves out of the doorway and I've got drinks to serve. Do what you need. Take what you want of what's, you know. No, I drinks, and he just turns around and makes his way inside.
People
Alright, well,
start.
go on then. Get whatever you want. Just throw the clothes on the burning tree, and then, whatever else.
Okay, so is it the trio of you heading up there, or?
I'm waiting down
Yeah,
below. I
we're-
don't care. Stuff, so
We're gonna go ahead to the where Elf and Power are.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm just gonna try and lead the way because he clearly couldn't see it.
Okay, so and really you're still trying to get a grip on the tracks. I mean, you look back to the dirt and kind of just examining the whole scene. Give me a survival check. Tracking. A little bit of tracking.
Me, right?
That's you, yep.
Yes, correct, Ranger.
I mean, Eric is an esteemed tracker.
I mean, it's difficult. You go back to sort of the source where the impact first hits the ground. You can see where they clearly go off into the forest, but I mean, you're only able to follow maybe 5-10 feet before it gets lost in the general kind of foliage. But as you look around, you do notice, kind of looking back up to the window, again, it's kind of just slightly pressed out and ajar. But more importantly, there seems to be a pouch kind of hanging down from the windowsill.
Sorry, Drake, what is your favorite enemy?
It's a weird question to ask.
I think this is out of
Out of
character.
character.
Because if it's
Pretty
human,
much.
you get advantage.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
I'm pretty sure it is, right?
It's human.
So go ahead and roll that again. You have advantage. In fact, we need to roll. We need to put roll 2 on for you.
Yeah.
Which I'll do.
You suck. You're the worst.
Heyo. Hey, I mean, he's still better than your double 8.
Yeah.
Okay, so you do notice the pouch though.
I'll grab the pouch.
I mean, it's hanging from the windowsill where he jumped out of. It's on the 2nd floor. It's pretty high.
Hanging from the windows.
As you
Could I
spot
try
that,
and nudge it with my spear?
yeah, you can do that. Why not?
Looks at Cole's.
Yeah. Yeah, that's fine. You managed to kind of like hook around it, and it seems to be hanging by a sort of like drawstring that holds the pouch closed. You're not able to quite kind of lift it up so much as like as you put the tip of the spear through the hole of the drawstring, it kind of slips and slices through it, cutting and severing the string, but the pouch does fall to the ground. And as you're doing that, while the other Baltair, you kind of just waiting outside, moseying in the town square or whatever.
Loitering.
Yeah, loitering. Catherine and Eric, as you two make your way in, Eric, a figure kind of just sort of... Catherine, you don't even notice this, but a figure, a regular humanoid size, sort of slides an arm around your shoulder, Eric, and kind of just pulls you off to the side.
Is this like human-sized or like half?
Yeah, he's human-sized.
Okay.
You don't even quite see him at first. He just very quickly sort of manages to nudge you away, and actually, you don't even get inside as he does this. He kind of just turns you around 180 and kind of starts walking with you, arm over your shoulder, a few feet away from the tavern.
What does he look like? Who does this individual look like? As I kind of turn around, bewildered and...
Yeah, you turn immediately. You're taken off guard. It's not aggressive at all. It's actually this very suave way that he manages to kind of goad you away from going into the tavern. And as you turn to look at him, you are struck by the sort of utmost confusion. I mean, you've spent some time in Prim. I mean, you might not know everyone by heart, you might not recognize every face or know everyone's name, but you sure as shit haven't seen this individual, as he's got a kind of cloak around him that he sort of very casually slides off, sliding across the ground into, really just revealing this very dapper outfit. You see this bright blue vest and sleeves trimmed in gold with a sort of white front and a white kind of tie, and he just... There's no reason he should be in this village whatsoever, or anywhere near this part of the wilderness. And as he looks down at you with these kind of glittering eyes, there is a sort of not Tony Stark, the sort of Howard Stark mustache that sort of wisps off him. It's great. Young Howard Stark, for reference. His hair jet black, slicked back, and he just gives you this wide grin.
Now, I'm sure I've seen you around town before. To what do I owe this particular pleasure?
Oh, assuredly not. As I would have it. At that, he stops in place and shifts his weight so that he's front-facing you. His eyebrows kind of just raise and the smile widens. But I've been keeping an eye on you, I have.
I'm both flattered and terrified at the same time.
Oh, no need for that at all. Name's Dimitri de Delamont.
Notes. Dimitri?
The one and only? And he kind of wags a finger to you. Now. Eric. You've got a tongue. A talented tongue. I've seen it. On more than one occasion, as it were. In action.
The ladies would agree.
Silverleaf, was it? Now that's just no good. We should call you Silvertongue. Eric Silvertongue. Because, by the gods, is it good.
Ooh. I could like the sound of that.
Yes. Well,
As a ring.
now tell me this, man. Where is it you learned this? This je ne sais quoi of the tongue.
I can't quite say that I'm professionally taught, if that's what you're asking.
No, and he's genuinely surprised and taken aback, and you can see that just etched in his face. If that's not formally, and imagine what we could do if it was, and it should.
How do you mean?
How do I mean? How do you mean? Not formally taught. That's a lie if I've ever heard one. Just another quality of that tongue, I suppose. Spitting lies. And with that, he takes a knee, and there's a kind of flash about his hand, like midway through him lowering himself, and you notice that just a sort of plush pillow just warps into existence right below his knee as it hits the ground. Now then. At this point, he's kind of face to face with you. Tell me this. Now, no training, that's no good. Training, that is good. We could turn that je ne sais quoi into je ne sais ooh.
I think we're speaking the same language here.
That we are, and that makes me very, very happy. And it's good for everyone when Dimitri is happy. Now, you've heard of the Court of Delamar?
Have I?
Give me a history check.
Okay.
Oh yes, you've heard of the Court of Delamar. You know it to be a particularly renowned house in South Hollow, as it were.
In South Hollow. Okay. Out of curiosity, this is a bit as well. Did we settle on South Hollow as where I hail from originally?
No.
No, so it's south of the mountains, right?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Just so
Otherwise, you'd be oddly close.
I know. No, then would be quite awkward. But I could say that I've heard of De Lamar. Although I'd be lying if I'd say I believe you to be him.
Him who?
The one of the De Delamar court, of which you speak.
Well, of course, I already told you I'm Dimitri de Delamar. I hail from that, of course, but I'm not the Delamar, if that's what you mean, although he is a fantastic fellow. You should very much like to meet him one day. He could teach you a thing or two. Speaking of, you should be taught. I mean, think of what you could do with that tongue. What is it you do with that tongue besides serenading masses of peasant villagers like this? Surely you could be doing something much more.
I must admit, at first you had my curiosity, now you have my attention.
Right. Well, let me. So the hand kind of whiffs, and there's this magical light as the pillow vanishes, and he steps up, and one of the villagers is just kind of like just casually strolling by him, and no one seems to take notice of this individual in his fine clothing. They kind of the figure as he passes, and it's one of the farmers, just kind of gives you both a nod, and Dimitri sort of just shuffles his weight around him, placing his hand around the farmer's shoulder in much the same way he did with you, and he's like, "Good good fellow! How do you do? And he just strikes up this random conversation, and as he does, he's like, I need to, you see this? And he sort of, like, there's a flash in his hand, a couple of sparks ignite, and the villager is just like, absolutely besides himself. Both their backs are to you, and you're just watching from behind as Dimitri's hand sort of slips into the farmer's back pocket and pulls out a pouch. And then the display stops in his front hand, and he kind of shuffles his weight around and just sort of tosses it over his head so that it flies over the farmer's head into Dimitri's other hand. And he's like, you dropped this. Dangles it for a second. At least I think it's yours. If not, I'll gladly take it. And the farmer's like, no, it's mine. And quickly pockets it. He's like, oh, well, gives him a low bow and, well, merry day to you too. And then he kind of darts a look back to you and just gives you this wide grin and a wink of an eye.
I've got like these wide eyes at everything going on, just taking it all in.
It takes you a second, but as he rises up from his bow, you see he's got another pouch in hand, which he quickly pockets.
It was very impressive.
There's much to be done when you can distract them with little visuals and images, or a flare of the tongue. Now I saw the way you captivated all these villagers while they were, oh, so morbid in their dreadful plight of the crops that were dead, but no, Eric was there to soothe their weary souls. Imagine what you could have done with a little bit of pickpocketing. As their glassy eyes gaze up at you and all your majestic words. Meanwhile, your hands in their pants as you shuffle around their gonads looking for all sorts of this and that, and, well, lo and behold, you've got a fortune on your hands.
I must say, farm folk are more akin to my past. I take good conscience in being in good standing with them. I would seek to gain from larger targets.
Now you're talking. That's what we like to see in the court date. Now you see that one over there? I think you know him. He looks like someone you'd know, and he's pointing towards Baltier, actually. He's a fancy fellow, easily the most learned in this town, but painfully dull.
He does have his moments.
Now I'm going to serenade him with a little bit of this and a little bit of that, and, well, I just want to see what you could do.
Kind of crack my fingers and
say no more! And he immediately goes strutting off in this parading fashion. He's just like, oh, good sir, good sir. Oh, you look like my kind of fellow. That's a fine vestment you have about yourself, and his hands are sort of tugging away at the front of your whatever kind of cloak or coat you have on, and your shirt, and he's patting the dust off your shoulders, and just, wowie wow. Wow, what parts do you hail from,
A little north from here. Please stop.
A little north? Is that, would that be Westmill? Maybe one of the more primitive places about this village? And he takes his hand away. Sorry. Meanwhile, he's like conjured up a visible mage hand in its blue nature that is has a sort of like a dust broom to it, and that's now patting off the dust on your shoulders.
That's very impressive. Very good.
Now, Westmill. No, you said not Westmill. Perhaps you're from. I don't.
Could just tell you.
Yes, that would be good. Tell me. I'm dying to know.
Not originally from Fairmore. Spent most of my childhood in Fairmore. Recently left. There you go. So I guess Fairmore.
Fairmore. And at this point, he's now kind of like shuffling around you and pulling your attention towards like the direction that's opposite from Eric.
I am attempting to sneak over to Baltair and try and take use of his distraction. So much so that I actually utilize a bit of magic and go completely invisible. And I'm aiming to
give me that sleight of hand with advantage.
Done it already, man.
14.
Oh, you already did it. What's your passive?
10.
Oh, excellent. Yeah.
0.
So you impeccably go rummaging around, and you actually, I mean, as you're rummaging and you're looking like underneath Baltair's arms towards like Dimitri, you catch him kind of looking over Baltair's shoulder, trying to figure out where the fuck you've gone off to. And there's a confused look, but he's keeping his composure, and he's just like, yes, well, it's Fairmore then, but not from there, just to there. Well, that's good. Then here, that's. Wow, what a story! Look at this! And he kind of makes this spark of light in front of you.
Can I be doing anything for you, sir? I mean, I don't.
Well, I mean, can you? I love dazzling displays if you have any of your own. No, surely not. Here's another! And this time it's like blue sparks that ignite.
Where did you learn all of this?
Shimmy, shammy, shally, dilly dally. It doesn't matter where I learned it. What matters is that I know it and now you've seen it. Think of that.
I had that.
You ever seen such a thing? Surely not.
Yes, a lot, actually.
Right, well, my time is up. I've got places to be and people to see. I'm very popular around these parts. These folk, they're just dying to see my and like a little green spark, just a single spark ignites out of his finger. But
What are you stealing from me, by the way?
I took your spellbook.
Oh, that's fair enough. Okay, cool.
That's it.
At any rate, it was a pleasure meeting you. I'd love to hear about your life story one day. It would be great and dandy and lions. Dandelions.
I could write it down for you.
Oh, so you're a writer. Just kidding. It doesn't matter. I've got to go. Toodles, and then all of his fingers, just one at a time, like sparks ignite out of each one as he lets off his flamboyant wave and gesture, and kind of.
As he goes, like as he turns around, I whip out my wand and just shoot it over the top of his head, and I shoot out one of each color that he did, just over the top with prestidigitation.
he stops in his tracks, and he's just like, ooh. You ever heard of the Court of Delamar?
I have not. Even if I have, I haven't. Okay.
That's a shame, but good on you. And with that, he kind of wraps the cloak back around him so that his flamboyant vestiges are once again covered, and he just goes walking off, kind of in the direction that leads, back around the like an alley surrounding the tavern.
Okay.
Shooting the
And he's like very, like, he's keeping his composure so that people don't see him, but he's looking around for fucking Eric. Like, I don't understand.
I am equally doing the same thing right now. I'm like, what the fuck is Eric going?
I literally appear before him in the alley, like Bilbo taking off the invisibility ring out of nowhere, just like, hey.
Wow! I almost did one of those things where I kill you.
In the distance, you just hear Eric. Eric.
At this point, I don't doubt that is exactly what would have happened had you picked option B.
Yes, well.
I'm glad. And I kind of hold up with a wry grin his spellbook.
He takes that and flips through it. He said he was a writer. He didn't say he was a. And just tosses the book behind him and it slams onto the dirt. That was absolutely brilliant, though.
That distraction was quite fortuitous for something like that.
Well, much can be done if you follow the path of the Delamars.
I wish to learn. I wish to learn more.
Well, consider it my formal invitation. And he sort of pulls out. He makes the gesture of like pulling something out, but there's actually nothing in his hand until he sort of just like, and then there's like an envelope that appears in his hand, and he just very flamboyantly hands it over to you. Consider it a formal invitation. The Court des Diamants.
Perfect imitation of his flamboyant bow and handing out the envelope. I do the same type of bow to the best of my abilities, and then take the envelope.
He stands up to full stature. I very much look forward to our next meeting, Sir Eric Silvertongue.
Dimitri Delamar, it was a pleasure meeting you. I look forward to seeing what the future brings.
And I as well. And with that, he kind of whips around so that his cloak just actually flutters over your head before coming back to him. The inside of it is like just... If you've seen Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, like the insides of their school jackets, it's that.
Yeah.
And he immediately takes off.
Well, first off,
Yeah, pretty good, dude.
love that NPC. I would like to stroll over and pick up Baltair's spell book off of the ground, kind of dust it off a bit and put it in my pocket. And then I will take a moment, kind of leaning up against the wall, and open up the envelope and read it.
It is an eloquently written note that basically has the emblem of the court of Delamar on it, which is this just rather striking heraldry of a shield with all sorts of multicolored plumes coming off the top of it, and leaves and various types of foliage just growing out from underneath the lower half of the shield. It has the words Court de Delamar emblazoned in it in this sort of curved font, and beneath it this congratulations and invitation to join.
I kind of like mumble to myself. Can't tell if he was being 100% serious with me or 100% bullshitting me. Either way, and I stroll out the alley and go look to find Catherine and Baltair.
And if you haven't, you can upgrade to level 3. So, while you're going out to meet up with Baltair, Catherine, you've gone upstairs, I presume.
Yeah, I just kind of go up into the room of the guy who escaped and just kind of gather up his stuff. Or whatever I find in the room, really.
Okay.
Looks like it shouldn't be there.
Give me an investigation. Hey, that's pretty good.
Holy shit.
I like that.
We're on Catherine. So, yeah, you head up into the room. One of the patrons kind of, or wenches, leads you into the chambers that were his. As soon as you enter, you can see there's this heaped up in the corner what appears to be sort of just minor vestment, his clothing, all still just covered in black soot and debris, just in a jumbled mess in the corner. From the inside, you can clearly tell that he appeared to have left in some sort of hastened rush. The mattress is kind of just like halfway off the stand and overturned partially, almost as if it was like just kicked upon. The windowsill is cracked out slightly and pushed up ajar.
Don't die on us.
Yeah, I know, I'm dying over here. There's no pouch there because the Drake already got that. And that's actually, those are the two things that kind of stand out most to you. But as you move to the clothing, as you basically came up here to retrieve them, you notice two things rather quickly. Things that you didn't quite pick up on before when he was still wearing the clothes, but as you lay them out on the bed and kind of pat them down for anything, you immediately kind of feel some sort of parchment or paper on the inside. As you pull them out, you can see there's two pieces of folded paper, kind of just they're kind of crumbled, but they're more wrinkled than anything. Aside from that, you also very quickly realize that the cuts and tears on the clothing itself kind of way too clean. I mean, you spent a good deal of time fighting off those little creatures. Their weapons were quite crude, and even their swords, when they managed to cut through any of your own clothing, I mean, it was more of a tear than anything. Frayed and messed up. The cuts on his clothing, I mean, they look very cleanly sliced through.
Alright, I'm gonna gather up I'm gonna take the two pieces of paper out and grab all the clothes and stuff and just kind of head out to meet up with Baltar or Eric or whoever I see basically exiting the tavern as I go out.
Yeah, you pretty much come out to Baltar screaming Eric's name. And also, for the record, Drake and Will's character, who hadn't said his name, as you guys are like on the back side of the tavern, you can most definitely also hear Baltar screaming Eric's name. For what it's worth.
I have no idea where he's gone.
I kind of stroll up nice and sneakily, like behind Baltar, and Baltar, tapping him on his lower back.
We might have found him.
Found being relative, my friend. What's wrong?
I just lost you, that's all. I was looking for you. We're ready to go.
I met someone rather peculiar.
Oh, did the man get you too?
Yeah. What was he like for you? Did you see him as well?
Handsy. He was quite keen to touch my clothes.
Yeah, with the slick back hair and all that?
Greasy, yeah, that's right.
Yeah, that was the one.
Yes,
Strange.
slimy gentleman. Amateur magician. I do say so myself. And,
Please,
yeah.
Oh, just as a quick aside, I found your spellbook. It was lying over by the stairs. Did you drop it when we were talking with that elf?
I may have placed it down carefully.
Alright, well, here you go.
Can you take a deception on that one?
I was gonna say. Sure. Wait, who?
Yeah, as he's saying that he placed it down carefully, his face just turns white. Like, there's fear in his fucking eyes, and a single bead of sweat immediately emerges from his forehead.
Yeah, I wasn't sure who you wanted to make a deception check.
I think that's appropriate.
Oh, I meant Baltar, but yeah, I mean, it worked out either way.
Where did you say we found Eric? That doesn't sound like where I put it, honestly.
We were talking with the elf. Yeah, I'm sure you just set it down. I mean, it wasn't covered in dust or anything like that.
It was covered in dust?
No, it wasn't. Because you probably just set it down nice and gently.
I did, but then there was that dog around. I didn't think of that earlier.
That is true. You gotta be careful.
I
That's why I picked it
certainly
up for you.
won't be leaving it on the stairs again, that's for sure.
The town dog is oddly quiet tonight.
Is it there? I didn't realize.
Gibby is beneath my feet, so yes.
Oh, wonderful.
Oh shit.
Oh, look at him.
Hello.
So I kind of approach Baltar and Eric, and I'm like, "These are the belongings from our mystery miner. I found 2 scraps of paper with his clothes. I haven't read them yet."
I'm not paying attention. He is like very carefully leafing through his book to make sure nothing was damaged. I'm very obviously not paying attention to you.
Eric, could you hold these clothes while I see what these notes say?
Yeah, and I kind of like hold them for a second before dropping them to the ground. They'll be fine right there, probably.
So you hand it to Eric, he drops them. Then I assume you're opening those 2 things, and
those notes.
they're like kind of half sheets of parchment that are just folded in on each other. As you unfurl the first one, it seems to be some sort of forward voucher of a payment, almost like a written tab, if it were. The second one, as you pull it open, it seems to be the deed to a property. And on it, Cornerstone Manor, to be specific.
These papers are most interesting. Perhaps we can give these to the elf who was making a scene earlier and see if he can make any sense of this. Another thing I noticed about his clothes, as if he was one of the miners that was attacked by the Varts, his clothes, the cuts in them are far too clean for the Varts. I'm worried that maybe something did happen to this miner and this man changed clothes with them. Did you want to take a look at them?
No, I trust you. In regards to your other idea, I can't say I 100% agree with just handing over relevant information to this individual that has scared most of my friends.
Well, the information on these notes doesn't look relevant to me. Perhaps it'll mean something to the elf.
May. What are your thoughts, Baltar? Baltar?
Good. It looks like the dog didn't do any permanent damage to the book. Putting this down here.
Praise the 9.
It's heavy, okay? It's a heavy book. I certainly won't be putting it down again to save my shoulders, that's for sure. Sorry, what were you talking about? I was terribly busy.
Eric kind of chuckles a little bit. These notes here. Take a look. And we pass them over.
Yeah, I hand the notes over to Baltar.
Well, we've got a house now. That's good. And we can maybe sell this later. And the bill that he has, this like tab that you said, are there any additional bits of information about that? Like where it might be for, how old it looks, stuff like that?
I mean, it's... Give me a perception.
What can I invest
So
in?
just
Yikes. I mean, not really. It's
Oh, my
like I said,
bad skills, man.
it's like I said, it's kind of wrinkled. It's definitely been dirtied, just given the clothing and the nature of mining endeavors. It's very blackened and suit covered, so it's hard to tell age-wise how old it might be. As for information, there's
But it is covered in soot, though.
it is.
Maybe this guy was a miner.
Either that or it was a very good cover-up job.
Yeah, but what kind of miner carries around a deed to a house?
Maybe one that was planning on striking it rich and moving south for the winter, I don't know.
But anyway, every second we wait here is a second that he is getting away, and I'm sure that that elf is quite eager to burn another portion of the forest. So, maybe we should catch them up.
Let's go catch the elf.
And what are the other two of you doing as of current?
Well, I'm going to hand him the pouch and say, "You probably want this."
I kind of take it and open it up. What's in it?
So as you open it up, you have to be extra careful with it now that one of the drawstrings has been sliced. But you kind of palm it in one hand and carefully open with the other. And even just feeling it first, it's fairly heavy and sort of almost mushy. And opening it up kind of confirms exactly what it feels like, that it is kind of just filled with sand.
Man.
So,
Cool. That's everywhere.
oh my god. He kind of like he looks at the pouch. He kind of audibly sighs and just throws the pouch aside. We're wasting time. Do you know where he went or not?
Well, we can follow these footsteps. Just let me get my crew and we can shove
I
off.
prefer if you go now. The minute, the longer we waste time, the more likely it is he's going to get away. If they want to, they can catch up.
All right. Don't burn me. I'll lead the way because I can see the footsteps. So just follow me.
Good. And I follow.
As you say that, you kind of make it 10 feet before you reach the edge of the tracks where you lost them the first time. I mean, you can see they clearly go into the forest, and at that point, I mean, it's just hard terrain to really read from regular footprints. But by the time you guys have kind of done all of your stuff, especially with the pouch and everything, and kind of clamoring with that, you guys would be pretty quickly approaching from behind if you guys are heading off towards where they were.
Yeah.
So as the two of you kind of make off, you're really just at the edge of the forest again. You're kind of down on one knee, trying to give a second look, more careful, thorough investigation as you try to really track which way it seems he might have went when the other three of you kind of come into view, making your way back behind the tavern. You two immediately spot like the area where there's just this heavy dent in the dirt. Hell, there's a fucking pouch on the ground now, just kind of laying there in the middle of everything, and these two individuals about 10-15 feet away at the edge of the forest.
Can I pick up the pouch and inspect its contents?
Yeah, it's very much the same. You're gonna pick it up, and it's this initial kind of mushy, sandy feeling, and as you peer inside, you can clearly tell it looks to be sand.
Okay. Bring it with us. And we head off in the direction of where we see them. Hey, Belter. As we're walking over towards them. I'm not sure about most of your mumbo-jumbo and what it takes to really have that intimate connection with magic that you do, but do you use sand at all for anything?
As a matter of fact, I do use sand when I'm writing letters and I want the ink to dry.
Would you like this?
No.
Alright. Figure that offer.
Why don't you pour it out, see if there's anything inside?
I can, but I feel like that'd be a total waste as I'm pouring it out.
Where are you pouring it out?
Like on our walk towards them. So it's probably about like halfway from the building to where they are.
Okay, so you pour it out, and the contents, I mean, they disperse rather quickly. Just, yeah, I mean, the bag empties almost immediately, creating this really kind of narrow and short streak of sand that doesn't fall in the way it normally would. It actually falls quite a bit slower, and as it does, the large blades of grass that were previously kind of just sticking up from the ground go invisible as you waste the dust of invisibility or disappearance all over the dirt and ground. And there's now on the plus side,
Murder me.
as you do this, as the blades of grass slowly begin to just disappear, you're kind of just like, what the fuck have I done? The lack of grass makes some pretty clear footprints visible on the ground.
Eric, they haven't got very much greenery left here.
Believe me, Walter, it is at the forefront of my little mind. I can't believe that it did that, though, for sand. Weird. Where do these prints lead? Are they, like, headed in the direction of those two?
Are they walking the other direction right now? Are they walking a different way?
Slightly, but not much. You can tell that the prints seem to go off and begin to arc in a different direction again. You only get, like, a small area of invisible blades here. But Drake and the elf are just slightly off track, it seems.
I would assume as Eric,
You all
no
missed
idea
some
what
tracks
backtracking
over
is.
here, by the way. There are tracks, obvious tracks, heading this way.
I immediately turn around and begin looking for the tracks that he's pointing to. And seeing them, I immediately start following them.
Okay.
Not even acknowledging.
Give him a little grin to Eric as we walk after them.
Okay, it's a 10-foot area that you made invisible there. So yeah, you have 10 feet of tracks that you're able to follow, at the very least to give you a sort of sense of direction. Whoever is taking the lead here, give me survival with advantage now.
Definitely the ranger.
Not me.
So this is double advantage?
Oh yeah, I guess you already have advantage, so just advantage it is.
Well, you're gonna lead? Alright, sure.
21.
I mean, have our groups,
You guys are
reunited? Or?
Yeah, you guys are reunited. But sure, that works. Especially since the three of you are kind of closest to it as the tracks become visible. You immediately just start making your way. They continue on for quite some time, and actually it's I'm assuming somebody pulls out a torch, given that it is most definitely night at this point.
Oh, if it's into dark territory, I would immediately use the light cantrip.
Okay. So a torch, a couple torches, a couple lit up rocks, and other, just sticks or what have you. You guys produce sufficient light. I mean, it doesn't go far, but it's enough that you can decently follow the tracks. They begin to head. Sort of eastwards and then span off north. At more than one point, it kind of seems like the tracks almost stop. You see them sort of moving around in one area before picking a direction and heading off again. It becomes very clear that the figure, the miner, he doesn't seem particularly sure of the surroundings. There's many pauses, delays in the tracks as they continue on. For quite a while, it actually seems to wander sort of around Prim, sort of moving through the perimeter before finally fully heading in this northeastern direction. However, as you guys are at one of these sort of divergent points, stopping for a second to get a grasp on the tracks and what the direction they're heading, you suddenly hear this kind of ruffling in the bushes not too far from you. maybe 10, 15 feet away.
We're not gonna kill it this time, I get it.
We'll just tell it a really horrible joke, and then its sides will hurt from the sheer pain of laughing too long. I think that's the perfect idea.
Or maybe you should
I
get closer.
summon my sword.
So you all watch as Catherine just holds out his hand and weapon warps into it. This purplish black crystalline material. The blade not even connected to the hilt. It's sort of just floating.
Hells no, Catherine.
Altair, is that the? I can assume that's the. Yeah.
That's the one.
Look at how dope this thing looks.
I don't know what he just said. He just said something I don't understand.
Hold off on that.
Hey, look, if you're out there, I'm about to tell a really bad joke if you don't come out right now. It's going to be horrible.
If you can understand us, come out of those bushes.
There's a
If I
pause
was in
and
that bush, I'd have run off the other direction.
there's a pause and no response for a few seconds, and then
What do you call a rogue?
stop. There's no need.
A sneak peek.
As you forcibly finish the joke, you see this very large, sort of broad-shouldered individual just step up out of the bushes with, I mean, if his face could be any more restingly angry, it would be at the fact that you finished that joke.
Hey, Drake, maybe you should lend him that mask.
The figure takes a number of steps forward, very carefully, cautiously, in a manner that's almost very similar to the way that Drake looks as he's tracking footsteps. The figure's sort of in just calmer clothing. He hasn't even bothered to put on any sort of leather armor, anything really. You can see there's a long shafted weapon and a bow strung along his back. He doesn't brandish them at you though. He just takes a few steps forward. I wish I could say it was harder to find you.
Oh, I thought you were saying it was harder to laugh. Do we recognize him at all?
None of you do, only Drake.
In our defense, we're not trying to be very quiet. We're looking for somebody.
Generally helps if that somebody doesn't know you're coming.
Well, it doesn't matter if they know we're coming. We're going to find them. We've got a tracker.
So who do I know who this is? Is it
Your dad, bro.
father? Okay,
Yeah.
yeah, that's what I. Okay. Hey, yeah, we're leaving again.
I know. I was told and heard and saw you from a distance.
You know this man Drake?
Yes, this is me dad.
As he had told me, you were tracking the miner that came through yesterday, and he ran off.
He ran off?
Yes, have you seen him?
I followed the tracks for a bit and saw them headed north. He seemed lost from what I saw. If I had to guess, he's headed for West Mill.
in more ways than one. But yes, north it is.
Look, wait, before we go any further, what do you even want with this man? Why are you, like, have you come to this middle of nowhere town just to hunt him down?
What the church, the Searing Bright, wants with this man is none of your concern. All that matters is that he is meant to repent, bring himself a full accounting of his deviance, and to be purified in the sight of the Searing Bright. All else does not matter. Now, if you will excuse me.
I'm afraid I won't excuse you, and it is our business. We're not going to let you take him. We're not going to let you do anything to him.
I
Said you
don't
have the
think you
authority.
have a
I
choice.
think we do, my friend.
I really think that you should just go about this more peacefully, as I cast suggestion.
Ooh.
PvP! PvP!
He's good at those saves, dude.
I'm sure he is, unfortunately.
He's really good at those saves, dude.
I think I fucked up, bro.
I'm pretty sure he knows. He knows you tried it, right?
I believe so.
Almost,
Yeah.
yeah.
As soon as he detects that you tried to influence him mentally, he is going to cast Scorching Ray on you.
And as soon as the elf, as soon as your eyes kind of flare up and this flame wreath goes around you, there's this sort of surprisingly fast movement and a large shafted polearm that's kind of just straight across the front of your neck. Doesn't penetrate, but you can feel the pressure of the blade as it presses into your skin. I wouldn't do that.
I'm not sure you actually know you've been suggested either. It doesn't say so in the spell. So, that'll be down to your familiarity with the spell.
I leave that up to you guys.
I think story-wise,
It is visual though, right? So there would have been some sort of
Yeah, you trade Jedi mind.
That's verbal.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't say.
Oh, I thought it was VMS.
Just
It's
VM.
VM, but
Oh.
V is verb.
No, I know. I thought it was all three.
Yeah.
I don't think you want to do that.
But, no, then
These
he
are-
won't
maybe you
do
should
it.
go
He
about
doesn't know
this a little more
meant to
peacefully.
do that. That's not.
These aren't the droid miners you're looking for.
Oh, nevertheless, even as the elf's temperament is kind of rising, this old man does do the same thing. And you might want to rethink what you're doing. Why are you after him? At the very least, are you getting paid?
I do not do this for coin, old man.
Well, you're doing it for the wrong reasons, then. Nevertheless, what are you doing it for?
Fucking got him.
I have a written writ for him from the High Inquisitor of the Church of the Searing Bright. He is one of ours. He has strayed, and his very straying leaves the entire world in peril. His sins will not be overlooked. Your sins, if you stand at his path, will also not be overlooked. Now,
He withdraws the weapon. I'm not getting paid either, so...
Look, what are his sins? What has he done? What is this so bad? Why has the High Inquisitor decided to write a writ for this?
he is a heretic of the worst sort, spreading false doctrine and things that imperil the world against the coming justice and cleansing and purification of the searing bright.
Oh, Eric's done plenty of that too.
Wait.
I have no idea who that is.
Oh, that's the little one there.
That you ignored a lot. I don't like you.
So as I am saying,
There he goes again.
I am
You.
going to find him, and he is going to tell me where the rest of them are hiding,
The rest of who?
and then I'm going to find them.
If you just tell us what he has done, and I mean
I
actually
did
what he
tell
has
you
done,
what
instead of
he has
some
done.
vague mumbo jumbo about the coming justice.
It is not mumbo jumbo.
It is mumbo jumbo. I don't understand a word that's coming out of your mouth. You may as well be speaking fucking abyssal. I don't know what you're talking about. I want to know what he has done, what his companions have done, and maybe we'll help you. You know, maybe they're bad people
I do
objectively,
not
not
have
just
time
according to your
for this.
religion.
I'm Elf. I found some notes on the missing miner's clothes that you might be interested in. Perhaps if you tell us the real reason you're looking for him, I'll let you look at them.
Are you all simpletons? I've already told you the reason I am looking for him. I will not say it again. I do not have time for this.
Make time. What did he do? Specifics. What did he do?
He looks at you like you just are speaking gibberish. Just like you were looking at him like he's speaking gibberish.
Look, I understand
did you
committed
find?
heresy, whatever, but what was his heresy? What did he do?
I do not know. That has not been told to me. What did you find?
It's not good enough.
We found 2 scraps of paper. One of them mentions a house, and the other one is pretty much useless. It's just a tab, it looks like. I kind of hand them over to him. I'm just over listening to this guy rant.
A safe house, perhaps.
Perhaps.
I mark the page black with prestidigitation.
Oh, wow.
Oops.
The world goes silent.
If you don't know what this guy's done, and you don't know what his companions have done, then we're not going to let you have him. Okay? Simple as that. He'll face justice if he's done something wrong, but it won't be yours. So you'll have to just come to terms with that. It's either good enough for you that he gets some other form of justice, or you can leave, because we're not letting you have him.
When the Order of the Searing Bright hears of your defiance and sends its own inquisitors after you, then you will not. You will beg, you will plead for the day that you decided that you were not going to assist.
As you say that, there is a long, strenuous groan. The old man picks himself back up off the stump. Listen here. You don't watch the fuck you're saying. Your little light's gonna get extinguished. Now, there ain't no way you're finding this man. Not with that fiery fucking temper. It's gonna slip his way right through your shitty little fingers.
The
Get it?
others haven't. You won't either.
He just fucking did, dumbass. Now listen, you need a tracker. There's a tracker. Why don't you stifle your flame
It's a good one.
and do what you gotta do when you find him? Show him what they did. I don't give a fuck if he dies.
Fine.
I'm just like, that's my dad.
Whoa, my dad's so cool.
And he does an about face and kind of just walks over to the other side onto the other tree.
My father is right. If he really threatens this world, then by the gods, let us help you. But there's no need for such aggression.
All
We can
sin,
help each other.
Righteousness and all that oppose the searing bright are to be met with the fullest aggression and the fullest force. You'll learn that, whether it's today or tomorrow.
If he's as bad as you say, he's gonna do more stupid, evil shit. They'll get to see it, everyone will be on board, and then you can kill him. Then your little fire can shine bright like a diamond, whatever you want.
At this, Eric kind of like covers his eyes and kind of reels back, feeling like, ah! Out of the light, I can't see. The fire in your belly is too bright. Turn it down.
What do we
I shall
call you,
kill
Elf?
him regardless, old man.
Yeah, did they let you have a name?
Do they let you have a name in the Burning Bright?
My name is Inquisitor Grassus Erben.
Gotta ask the
Interesting
ass.
choice by your parents to name you Inquisitor. That's the first thing.
You hear the old man with a slight chuckle. And the old man leans into the attic. That was a fucking joke.
I kind of like this version. It was.
Well, it looks like you're all one big happy family now, so I bid you adieu.
Nice meeting you, Pops. Happy's relative.
Catherine shields or dissipates his weapon. Gives a Drykstad a nod.
I don't know when I'm gonna be back, Pa. But take care of yourself.
Oh, I almost forgot. And he, the weapon's kind of backstowed at his, strapped to his back, but he kind of pulls it back off, and you kind of realize at this point, you hadn't noticed before, but it's a different weapon from the one he normally uses. He kind of holds it in front of himself for a second and grips it tightly, and a few practice swings testing it. It's a good weapon. Then he hands it over to you.
What? What's this?
Something to,
A wooden stick.
better serve you. And he hands it over to you, and it's a, where can my note go? You know, one of those pole arms that I'm drawing a blank on the name of.
Pike?
That's
Albert?
one of those ones, you know, that's
It's that one.
the one that's good. I'll find it later. It's a, I think it was a glaive. Yes, glaive. So he hands you this glaive, and as you reach for it, it's you pick it up. It's
Fucking enchanted.
light, it's sturdy. You can swing it around, and it's good. One of the best weapons you've ever wielded, in fact. I had it made quite some time ago, for when I thought you were ready for it. And he kind of points at the shaft of wood that makes up the vast majority of the weapon. You recognize that?
Do I?
I mean, it just looks like wood to you.
No. What is it?
It's wood taken from your ship. Some of the repairs they did and last time it came into port. I had them refurnish it into the shaft, and he points then to the kind of linen wrappings that make up the handle, as it were. And that's the sails that adorned it in its first christening.
My God. This was months ago. You've been hiding this for so long?
Tell us.
I didn't think you were ready for it.
You think I'm ready now?
I guess we'll find out.
Oh, I can't. I'm lost for words.
There's no need for any. And then he looks back to the rest of you. Well, I'm old. I gotta go to bed.
Hell, Take care of yourself.
You too.
I'll be back.
With that, he turns on his heels, and you very quickly lose sight of him as he makes his way through the tree line.
I like
Quite
him.
like you. Yeah, me too. There you go.
We're on the same track a lot there,
Dad
Walter.
seems like a pretty cool guy.
He was the hero of this town. Anyway, so north.
He said Westmill, right? Where the miners were heading.
That he did.
So Westmill.
My favorite spells.
North to Westmill. Quickly. We've lost much time with this nonsense.
Lead the way, Inquisitor.
He does. He just walks right
Can we
past.
call you Quizzy for sure? Inquisitor is a bit of a mouthful. Do you have a nickname?
No response.
I presume that the entirety of this short journey is you guys are kind of head east first, trying to get onto the main road. And the entirety of that time is just the rest of the party making quips at the elf that has just joined the party, and him angrily leading the way towards the passage. And
He's not so much like fuming at them. He's like
he's
tuned
focused, yeah.
Television.
Yeah, he's got blinders
Laser
on.
focused.
Yeah. Fair enough. Tuning them out as they go about their mumbo jumbo.
Tunnel vision.
But you guys rather quickly make it to the road on what seems to be your nightly walks through the forest. As you do, you immediately kind of get your belongings tidied up and begin heading north along the road to West Hill. It takes quite a while. You guys aren't, well, I guess you guys are probably moving with some speed, as much as you can muster anyways, as we like to double down on our trips nowadays. For the rest of you, it's perhaps a bit exhausting. I mean, especially for Catherine, you didn't even get to get a drink before you left town.
He's an alcoholic.
Perhaps for the elf, it's much the same. You'd only, the Inquisitor had only just arrived. He's now departing again. You guys are all fairly exhausted in your own rights as you progress, and you only make it another few hours really before that exhaustion really starts to set in. as you move along the northern road, and it's now pitch black out aside from your lights and torches. And unless you wish to keep going and trudge through some exhaustion that I know Will loves to do on his characters, then I presume you guys are settling down.
Eventually, the Grassus will just stop and just sigh audibly and loudly and just walk over to a tree and sit down.
Plunk.
Just for reference, what was his name? Arathis?
Grassus.
Grassus?
Grassus.
Okay.
It's Gracias without the I or the A.
Well, that's a nickname.
Gracias.
So his name is Inquisitor.
Or for Baltair, Inquisitor for short.
Inquisitor, thank you. How you doing today? But no, you all watch as, Grassus previously, taking the lead, kind of just, you hear the audible sigh, and you all have been, your own joking has really dwindled over the last hour or so as weariness has set in for you guys as well, and honestly, your mindset is just really, you're trudging behind him just to make sure he doesn't go murder this individual. You've only kept up with him under that mindset, and as you watch him finally go and sit down, there's a sense of relief that washes over you guys as you can finally rest yourselves.
So we are making camp then, Inquisitor. Are we stopping here?
No response.
I must say, Eric, we haven't had any of your fine dining today. Would you like to make something in memory of Alyosha, maybe?
Oh, why'd you have to go and bring that up?
I hate not to.
So does that mean we can't use cutlery today? Is that not the idea?
Huh?
Can we just not use cutlery today if we're honoring Alyosha? That's go-to, right?
I'll think
something dry, if you could, Eric. Not like a soup. That would be terrible.
I'm good on stew. And I'm gonna prepare a bit of an interesting meal using potatoes and eggs taken from our stop in Prim, probably.
I'm gonna start a fire while I start up, and then I'll start up my tent as well.
Yeah. Stay quiet about the fact that it's not fire instantly.
Okay, so as you guys all kind of go about your business, setting up your tent, setting up a small fire for Eric's food endeavors as he gathers and prepares the natural ingredients to make said delicacies.
This one's kind of interesting because it's a hard-boiled style egg, though it's not exactly mashed potato per se, but it is wrapped in potato on top of the egg.
So you're doing a potato version of a Scotch egg?
Yeah.
You're watching too many videos on Facebook for...
Those tasty videos.
But no, you do that. Your personal stock is dwindling kind of low. Unfortunately, you didn't gather food from Prim before you guys took off, but you have some stuff in, and you really just kind of make use of what you've got. Pulling out your frying pan and with the fire blazing, you sizzle up these eggs, or I guess more of a pot if you're doing deviled eggs there. With whatever, yeah. You know how it is. You guys watch him bring out a whole slew of fucking things. And, it's just one cooking instrument after the other. And, after a while it smells good. Man, you would make Dimitri proud, you're sure.
I am sure.
You could distract some noses with that cooking. Go ahead and give me a check. Give me a cooking check.
Give me a good
Your
That's a good
your
good
foods. You'll
What
two
kind of
rolls.
check?
Um,
I know you wanted to change it based on.
yeah, you said you're experimenting again and kind of going as you are. So we're gonna
I
go.
only have what I brought.
We're going with wisdom again. You're not going by the book. This isn't learned. This is you're going with purely what you think. Hopefully, might possibly not kill people.
All right, so wisdom plus
Proficiency
I guess.
because yeah, cooking.
Okay, so it's just this plus 2, so 6.
Well, I mean, it smells.
So you dropped it.
It smells good though. I mean, for the rest of you, I mean, it's wow. I mean, you got that nice potato smell, the eggs just wafting past your noses. Even Grossus sat down by the tree, want nothing to do with the smell. Billows past you, and for a second, I mean, you It's good.
Nice, tasty dinner.
Grossus is vegan, and so as all high elves are, and he is.
Is that canon now?
Really.
I think my elves are vegan.
Or what? Jenna.
I gotta tell Jenna. She's gonna be very excited. Yeah, so I mean, nevertheless, it does smell good, and as you relay this to him, I mean, you kind of. Eric's a nice guy. He fastens you up an eggless potato, I presume, for you to eat.
I could try, for sure.
It's not. It's
gonna be
not
bland.
good though. Yeah, it's very bland. I mean, you have that 4, and then you subtract half of it, so it's now a 2 because that's just how it works. I don't make the rules. I didn't write them. Yeah, I mean, it's not good, but it's substantial. All of you, I mean, the rest of you, you've had his cooking. You know it can be good, and the smell deceives you. And as you have it, it's
swinging.
You don't want to be mean about it. It's just like you're like pushing it back into your mouth simply so you don't hurl it out.
Would we say this constitutes a con saving throw for most of them?
I mean, it's not that bad.
Okay.
It's bad, but it's not that bad. You know, it's just it's very bland and tasteless, and I mean it's just I think it's more disappointing because of the smell than anything.
Yeah. It's like the equivalent of a very bland ration, but it has a smell.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But nevertheless, everyone gets their eatings for the day. And if there's nothing else, I presume you guys are taking a long rest.
I'm kind of like the last to eat after passing it all out. And sit down. All right. Here's to new beginnings. Going to West Mill. And I begin to eat into it. Oh, gods. Oh, my gods. Why didn't you say anything?
I didn't want to be rude.
No, you should totally be rude. That's how I improve on this.
Eric, just bring it over here a little bit. I just like tap it with my wand a little bit. It's like, try it now. Mm-hmm.
All right, and I do. Is the taste improved?
I've changed the taste to something entirely different.
Yes, but is it an improved taste? You could change it to something entirely different, but
No.
No.
It's still terrible, but it tastes something
That
else.
didn't help at all.
I mean, mine tastes fantastic. Yours doesn't.
Was that a spell that was from your spell book? Did you lose it again?
I mean, some of the spells are slightly smeared. Maybe it went wrong.
Oh, that's... Oh. You need to be more careful with that.
Mine tastes great. Numbing into my... It's like tasting like a steak dinner that he's got... I don't know. Tripe.
Oh,
Raw
why do you
tripe.
do that to mine? Oh.
Outside of that, I don't have anything else to do for the night.
All right. So, I presume you guys set up your individual watches, and as you guys have already really set up camp at this point, you wait until the fire has died down, and you rest. You guys, in your regular intervals, wake one another up so that keep an eye on the surroundings, and for the most part, it's dead. There's no one that seems to pass along the main road. There's the constant ambiance behind you as the forest wildlife goes about its business, especially the more nocturnal animals coming out amidst the darkness. But nothing seems to bother you or seem out of the ordinary, and you guys all awake the next morning in good health.
Perfect. I have nothing to use to cook for breakfast.
I was going to say, I'm gonna go home for some food.
It's a good idea.
If someone wants to join me, you can. If not, I will be back.
Is your
I'm good, too.
what's your background, Drake? Do you have the feeding people background?
The survival thing.
I think it's Outlander, right?
Outlander.
No, you're Sailor, aren't you? So,
Sailor.
Okay, so go ahead and give me a survival check.
I mean, his natural explorer gives him a better version of the same feature, though.
Oh, does it?
Let's
I didn't know that.
When you forage, you find twice as much food as would normally be found in the area.
Okay, you still have to forage though, so go ahead and roll me that survival check.
Yeah.
With advantage, right?
No, it's regular for this.
Oh,
You're not foraging human flesh, so no advantage for your.
Oh, dude, stop turning off that fucking roll too. Keep it there.
So, you go out and about. Sorry, did someone say they were going with you?
Nope. Nope.
Okay. You guys wait as Drake heads, into the wilderness himself. Comes back a bit later. He only really comes back with enough for 4 of you, however. Just barely enough for Eric to cook up something to feed 4.
What does he bring back?
Yeah, I was gonna say, do I bring back anything specific?
At best, you try hunting for some small games and rabbits and stuff, but you're not able to get anything. It's pretty mundane stuff. You're really relegated to just getting berries and some sort of herbs and plants that are edible in the surrounding area.
Not cooking that.
It's a couple mealworms you managed to get for a little protein, but aside from that, it's small pickings.
There's not much. This land's kind of barren now because those bollywogs.
You can't blame it all on the bollywogs.
Fucking
I can't.
bollywogs.
We should blame everything. Man.
I mean, it is the land.
We're far away from where the bollywogs were.
You don't know. Maybe they traveled far. Anyway, I have some stuff.
Jesus Christ.
Thank you for showing me all of that. It's only good enough for a few of us.
Okay, that's a mistake.
I'd like to think that you have 4 priest packs.
Priest.
But I thought too.
I'm one encumbered individual.
I assume you were meaning to use your own rations there.
Yeah.
While Drake provides for the rest of the party. As much as you're trying to figure out how to divvy it up so that everyone can eat, Grosses is already kind of eating into his own rations, so you can just give stuff to the party members you already know and love.
I know you were looking forward to more potatoes and all that, but
Yeah, no thanks.
Honestly, I'm potatoed out.
Maybe next time.
Eric.
Perhaps.
we'll see for dinner.
I've eaten. Let's go. And gets up.
Good
starts
for
walking.
you.
off down the road.
So many priest packs you have there.
Yeah.
Bring that shit.
I've eaten, he says as he strings not 1, not 2, not even 3, but 4 priest packs over his shoulder.
They're all like this, like quasi bag of holding. It just starts flying out. Yeah.
Wonderful.
But no. As the Inquisitor finishes his rations, you can see him immediately just take off down the road. This vindictive focus.
I know out of character he was wearing like this like skin tight garb, but is that like heavy armor?
It's more of a
Like, do you seem like an encumbered individual? Like, do you seem like you're very strong? Do you seem like
he is a little bit above average strength. It's scale mail, so yeah. I mean, he's above average strength. I mean, he's got a +2 to his modifier. So,
gotcha. Just curious.
You probably would have also noticed this based on how much he was able to kind of travel before dying down. Like he seems a pretty hardy fellow.
Okay. I spend an additional 15 minutes putting away the cooking supplies and packing up.
Okay, you do that. Drykes puts away his tent. The rest of you doing whatever you need, and then I presume running after him.
Catching up.
Yeah, I'm
Kinda.
following him. Not exactly. I'm mostly looking at my new weapon that was crafted specifically for me. As I'm following.
Indeed. And yeah, you guys actually got up at a reasonable time this morning. Unlike your weird scheduling the day prior.
You can tell me what's reasonable.
I'll tell you what I want.
I could be nocturnal.
But you guys go running up after Godossus, and
Yes.
I mean, it takes you a little bit. He's got a decent head start, and I assume he's moving at his own sort of brisk pace. But you do eventually, manage to catch up to him, and you guys continue your way towards Westmill. Unless there's anything you guys would like to do that continues.
Catherine. As we're walking, kind of started speaking up to Catherine, kind of as an aside.
What's up, Eric?
When you were checking out the body and all that, was the elf with you?
What body are you talking about?
Not body, excuse me. The room. Investigating the man that fled.
No, I went
The
up
body means
alone.
clothes that, were kind of dropped at my feet, but... The elf wasn't there, he said. Right, okay.
No,
I was just
the
really
elf
curious if
wasn't
you'd been
there.
ignoring you two during that whole investigation. Never mind.
He just doesn't like you, Eric. That's all.
I know. It bugs me, but it's also, like, in a weird way, endearing. It may grow on me, we'll see.
You just gotta build a rapport. I mean, me and Inquisitor, we are tight now. And we are best buds.
Grazes, can you give me a perception?
Sure.
You'll be good at this too. Oh, thank God.
Roll was that great.
Baltia, give me a
Habit.
Yes.
God, I guess a stealth or sleight of hand, whichever you want, if they're any different.
That's pretty good.
Okay, you say it quiet enough.
I probably would have ignored the check anyway. I'm
Yeah, but
just
your ears would have been on fire.
laser focused.
Burning ears. So no.
I would have thrown a warning shot at him.
I don't think it would be.
I said across her nose, not up it. So,
I'm trying my best, sir.
how many assholes we got on this ship? Yo! So, you guys continue your senseless banter. I can only assume the entirety of the way there. Meanwhile, Grassus is iron-willed, determined, and has this fiery passion as he leads everyone up the path northwards towards Westmill. The remainder of the trip, as you're traveling at a pretty fast pace, it only takes maybe half the day to reach it. You stop on a few occasions to catch your breath. Eric perhaps cooking up whatever he can find nearby, or whatever, maybe some buttered toast. He's not even able to really cook up anything, just snacks, as it were. Little protein packs for everyone as you're traveling. And then you continue on, and for the most part, the road is pretty devoid. I mean, there's nothing particularly exciting that happens. You come across a number of traveling parties that are headed southwards, at least one or two caravans that seem to be headed down the path opposite of you. I mean, yeah, but none of them stop to interact with you. None of them, they all look like sort of like trade caravans and vessels, all very likely headed for Reton, you imagine.
And Grassus is definitely scanning them as he walks by, just kind of like making sure that the person matching his description is not amongst them. Just kind of walks by.
Yeah,
gives him a look.
Especially for the caravan, they're mostly like covered vehicles. And as you're staring with this intense gaze, the driver's like whipping at the horses, kind of gives you this spooked look and just, oh, and then just keeps going. Very, like, doesn't stop. In fact, he kind of just, as soon as he passes you, he sort of just like whips them into a slightly faster pace. But there's no sign of your query. You simply continue on. And you travel for another few hours as you make the path northwards, eventually bending west. And as you guys finally come within view, sort of entering this sparse forest where many of the trees have been cut down to build up the establishment and just loosely spread around the area, you eventually see the town of Westmill rise up in the distance, the large wooden watchtowers lined amongst the sparse forest trees. So the guards standing atop them gaze down at you while you pass. A number of other trade vessels and venturing parties all making their way towards the establishment. All of you have been, very likely, to Westmill before. Most of you, at the very least, as you traveled to Prim, would have stopped here. Drake, no doubt you would have been here looking for crew and whatnot. You're all familiar with the place, and as you move through the forest and enter into the town, that is where we will pick up next week.
Sounds good.
As Grassus tries to burn Westmill alive!
What I imagined.
Where is he? He says as he lights the first thatch roof he sees.
Kills Eric in a single blow.
Yeah, that was
Could happen. That's 3 blasts.
Yeah,
Man,
21
that
damage.
escalated, I dare say, quickly.
It would have been so funny if you would have killed him.
I'm literally the one that like heads the funeral of his previous character His next one kills me.
It literally, I mean, it would have been great because it would just continue the trend of me not killing anyone because you guys just kill each other. The only person I've killed on Monday is Asher by technicality.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that was kind of assisted suicide.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
But wow, yeah, we'll pick up next week. I'm very interested to see how this party develops, man.
Yeah, what a really
Can we
cool list of
soften
characters
Grass's heart?
out of nowhere.
That was fun. I enjoyed the RP that session. Lots of
It's quite good.
Definitely.
Grossus was
This is
good.
interesting because this character you got, Will. This is what I was planning for the Wednesday game when we started Felheim. I wanted to play a paladin like this,
Mm.
and then I decided not to because Earl wanted to play an assassin who just killed everyone for money or for fun, and so I was like, oh, okay, maybe this won't work out so well. And I told him, and I was like, oh, dude, you know, like if I catch you murdering people, I might have to report you. Just fair warning. And that was that. He didn't like that, so I decided not to do it. I suppose now's the time. We've got a nice, friendly party. You know.
Is that what it is? It's a friendly party?
Mhm.
Most of the party's
We are
friendly. That's right, sorry. I sorry. My headset must have turned off. I forgot you guys were best buds now.
We are best buds. It's
I
true.
like that.
We were getting there with Alyosha, but you know.
Yeah.
I don't know. It'll be good though. I'm excited.
I liked a lot of the characters this time too. Like Dreg's father, really cool to see that interaction play out. Dimitri, fucking fantastic.
Blessed be.
Meeting this like iron-willed inquisitor terrorizing the town that we just saved. Like
Those poor people.
This is our town, motherfucker.
The best part was that you know Dimitri was like in that crowd disguised, just like, man, he's got some je ne sais quoi d'interrogation.
Alright.
Do you want to come work for the court of Delamar? Because, good God,
He's got an invite.
if you could just interrogate people while I pickpocket them, that'd be Gucci gang.
Wait, those peasants have got nothing left. Or after 2 rounds where he's been circling around.
They're shaking in their boots, which are empty because they're not wearing them anymore. They were taken.
Also, I love the total waste of dust of disappearing.
God, oh my God, I was like, what is happening right now?
Let me just
said it was
pour
sand,
the sand
guys.
down.
Oh yeah, no, I just hung a random pouch of fucking regular sand from the window seal. Definitely.
I was sure it was special in some way, shape, or form. But,
Oh man, no,
Who
it was
knew about that?
no, I know, it was perfect though. It was great. I was very fond of it. No,
Real
hey,
track.
I mean it did. You got the tracks. It was good. It was fun.
That led to the Drag Father.
What's gonna be funny is when some villager walks by and the grass reappears.
Yeah, I think I rolled it. I think it was 5 minutes. So someone's gonna go back there like, what is all this screaming? Uh-oh. What the fuck? They're either gonna be really surprised and scared, or they're gonna be like, our crops are saved! And they're just gonna run into town screaming it, and then the shear's gonna get all sorts of business because everyone's celebrating, and like it's just this false hope. There's no good scenario there, except for Nashir making lots of money.
Now, basically, what's going to happen now is that villager who walks over there is going to start like wreathing himself with grass like that fucking bullywug.
Yeah, better yet, the bullywug's gonna wander behind the tavern and like see it reappear and be like, oh, and then just take the reeds and plant it. Yeah, it's canon.
King of ideas.
It's
We
canon.
might go back.
Bullywug picks up the sand of disappearing, and he now tries to implement it in his shamanistic.
God, what the fuck is happening?
Oh man, invisible bally walks.
It's the best thing.
Pretty great.
So,
Covered in grass and dirt. Yeah, good session though. Good session. Loved it.
Yeah, it was fun RP. I enjoyed that.
Mm-hmm.
I can't believe you stole my spellbook, bitch. That's sacred.
It was so good. I'm so glad you rolled a 1.
Out of character revenge is coming up right now. Alright.
You have no idea. That was perfect.
That 1 for deception. That was so good.
His face goes white as he realizes his spellbook was
I
gone.
definitely put it down over there.
It's heavy, man. It's a heavy book. Alright. It hurts my shoulders. I've got other books in there, in that satchel. It's a lot to carry around. I need to leave it on the floor sometimes. And the dog took it.
And who can
I
blame
mean, the
you,
thing
man?
was, right?
You're being distracted by finger fucking sparks.
The thing was, right, that not only was Baltar the one that Dimitri decided to target, but then knowing that this was the situation where, oh, I can learn from this and try and, do my best. I'm gonna go for, the best possession I can, which is the spellbook. At least to Eric's knowledge.
I thought you were going to take the wand. Really, that's what I thought you were going for.
The god of sparkles. Need to watch that again.
But, inter-character pranks are all good. Except when, kill him.
Balta has no idea what happened either. He has no means of retaliating.
He has no idea that Dimitri was like, that's fucking gibberish, and just tossed it half-heartedly behind him. Probably like
10 years of my life.
Quite literally thrown away. He said he was a writer. And probably like slammed into the ground half open, so two of the pages are just covered in dirt.
I tried to dust it off as best I could, but
Prestidigitate it away anyhow.
Yeah.
I pulled the
But anyway, I actually need to get to sleep rather early because I'm going to the beach early tomorrow morning. So I only am going to get 4 some hours of sleep, but hey, vacation time, I'm all for it.
That's why you sleep on the beach.
Exactly.
Yeah, right.
I 100% do that.
What else are you gonna do on the
back is just completely red.
No, I'm tired of being Casper, the friendly server or whatever.
Oh yeah. Speaking of beach sunburns, Phil, we got something to tell you about. Because we've told you about this guy before. But we'll tell you later.
All right. Well, I'm going to head out, as is Power, because he's going to have to drive home.
Yeah.
You guys have a good night.
Have a good night. Looking forward to next session.
Well, it's fun. I look forward to next week.